And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on tonight. There are a whole lot of things happening in the world. We all know about Nick Cannon and that whole situation, that whole kerfuffle. We're going to get into that. Also, this whole thing with the Washington Redskins changing their name. Talking about, oh, well, we're going to change it in the near future. We're not sure what the name is yet. Make a decision. How about that? The young lady who unfortunately was shot after she said all lives matter by a group of people that claim Black Lives Matter or claim to support Black Lives Matter. Sad situation. Also, the St. Louis couple, they had their gun taken away from them, but maybe a little birdie got to them on the ground and said, hey, you have some support from the president because the local police, some state police, and others are out there protecting them on the second night when they were in their home. A whole lot of things are going on in the world that we may not know all the details about, but we're going to talk about it tonight on the show. And again, I thank y'all for joining. You could be anywhere, but you're right here with me. The Nick Cannon thing I'm gonna get into for real because that's my ball. That's my wheelhouse. I can really get into that one 100%. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all for joining. Most certainly appreciate you. You could be anywhere, but you're right here with me. If you like the content, if you like the channel, if you just want to support the show right now, give me a thumbs up on the video, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Also, go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And when you subscribe, click the little bells right there beside it so you get notified whenever I go live and/or post a new video. That'll help me out tremendously. Also, this show, this podcast will be available on all audio streaming platforms or most audio streaming platforms, whether that be Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Anchor, Stitcher. I think another one is Podbox or Cashbox. I'm not really sure. But if you're listening over there, give me a 5-star review, give me a rating, give me a share, do whatever you can. I'd appreciate you for that 1,000%. Now, I'm going to get to Nick Cannon in a little bit because I want everybody to come in here. That's going to be a hot topic. So I think I'm going to start somewhere else. I think I'm going to start with, let's start with the Redskins name change. Now, this has been going on for quite a while. They're talking about, oh, you got to change the name. The name is racist, all this, that, and the third. Where most people, most regular normies, don't think that the name is racist at all. Nobody really says, you know what, I think the Washington Redskins are a racist team. I mean, I think that their name should be changed. That's not really a real thing. I'm from Virginia. Most of you guys know, you go to Virginia, it's normal to see black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. Everybody has on their Redskins gear. It's no big deal. So this whole thing about, oh, you got to change it now. Why? Because people that don't even watch football, people that would never really, that care nothing about the game at all, want to change it, it's crazy. But that's kind of like the world that we live in right now. People want to change things that they actually don't really care about. Nothing at all. But I think it's deeper than wanting to change the Washington Redskins name. It's about wanting to have control over what NFL football is all about. That's the main thing, because these people also would like to see the NFL kind of just go away, not really be here anymore. They would prefer to not have the so-called violent sport be on the airwaves. And then they want to talk about things like minority ownership. So they want to just take one position and then get you to kind of agree with them on that and then run with that all the way to everything else. Minority ownership, concussion, CTE. I mean, when they're done with it, you won't even have football anymore. If you have any semblance of football, you're talking about two-hand touch. It's like, all right, I signed up to watch football, to watch full-form tackle football, the game that I've known, I grew up with. I'm not trying to go out there and see flag football, two-hand touch. We're not little kids. We're not 5 years old. People know the dangers of the game. It is what it is. Guys go out there and risk their health for a lot of money. You got guys that risk their life for a lot less, talking about police, fire, and whatnot. Now, I'm not comparing, obviously, police and fire, military to football players. Don't get that twisted. But what I'm saying is that people risk their lives for a lot less money. If it's about the dollar amount, if that is the main thing that people are kind of squabbling over. Football is an excellent sport, but it's being ruined. Sports in general, sports culture is being ruined by wokeness. All right. All I want to do when I'm not watching politics, when I'm not looking at the news or reading the news, I like to enjoy a nice football game. Yes. I don't really want to have the politics shoved into it or mixed into it. Just give me a good football game, a nice break, a nice reprieve from everything that's happening right now in the world. But apparently I'm not able to get that. It's kind of disheartening, but it is what it is. But Washington Redskins, so what's the name going to be? What's the next name going to be? I'm not really sure. The Deadskins, that's what they were known as when they were losing. But in all seriousness, talking about it could be called the Washington Warriors. There's already a basketball team over in California, the Golden State Warriors. So I'm not sure how that would make any sense. The Washington Red Tails after the Tuskegee Airmen, that could be a thing. The Navajo Nation put out a statement, if I'm not mistaken, and they're talking about you can rename them the Code Talkers after the Code Talkers in World War II. That's nice, but no. Washington Code Talkers, I'm not really feeling the ring to that particular name, so I'm going to give that a no. How about this? How about keep Washington Redskins? How about that? Nobody's really offended. People that are offended don't even watch football. That's what's going on. But once you get the advertisers involved, I think the Redskins play at FedEx Field, right? FedEx, the company, came out and said they should change the name. So once your actual main sponsors are saying change it, you can't even buy the merchandise online anymore. I think Amazon pulled it. Walmart may have pulled it. Once that happens, then it's like you kind of backed into a corner without any real place to go. But the advertisers are being controlled by the newspapers, Washington Post, Huffington Post, etc. And speaking about the crazy newspapers, did you guys see the resignation letter from Bari Weiss? Bari Weiss worked over at was it New York Times, if I'm not mistaken? New York Times, and she was bullied internally by other employees of New York Times because she was not woke enough. Now, Bari Weiss, I mean, you hear her name, it's a Jewish name, I would presume, Bari Weiss, W-E-I-S-S Weiss. Anyway, they were calling her a Nazi because she was not woke enough. And Bari Weiss, as far as I know, is not a conservative. Matter of fact, let me put some of the information on the screen so we can kind of be on the same page with each other, so you can kind of see what's going on. And again, thank y'all for joining. I definitely appreciate you. If you like what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video. But these are the kind of people that bullied the Washington Redskins into changing their name because they influenced the advertisers. Now, not Bari Weiss, but those that bully her. Now, I'm going to read some of this right quick. And again, Bari Weiss worked over at the New York Times, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, New York Times. So let's read this right quick. My own forays into wrongthink have made me the subject of constant bullying by colleagues who disagree with my views. They have called me a Nazi and a racist. I've learned to brush off comments about how, quote, I'm writing about the Jews again, unquote. We'll get to that in a minute, talking about Nick Cannon. But anyway, several colleagues perceived to be friendly with me were badgered by coworkers. My work and my character are openly demeaned on company-wide Slack channels where masthead editors regularly weigh in. There, some coworkers insist I need to be rooted out of this company if this company is to be truly a quote-unquote inclusive one, while others post axe emojis next to my name. Still, other New York Times employees publicly smear me as a liar and a bigot on Twitter with no fear that harassing me will be met with appropriate action. They never are. There are terms for all of this: unlawful discrimination, hostile work environment, and constructive discharge. I'm no legal expert, but I know this is wrong. Now, people that did this to Bari Weiss are the same ones that are influencing the advertisers to change Washington Redskins' name. One thing I read over the weekend about this kind of stuff, Washington Post, New York Times, and whatnot, the editor of these companies is Twitter. All right. The gauge of whether a piece will make it to New York Times or not is if it passes the woke meter on Twitter. That's pretty much what's going on. The outrage mobs are ruining the day and running the day, unfortunately. So yeah, Washington Redskins, they back to a corner. It's up to us, really just the regular normies, to come out and say this is not what we want. But at a certain point, it's like I'm not really sure how the power is swayed in such a crazy direction where all of it kind of just lands on Twitter and in the hands of these people that have these newspapers. Who's even reading these newspapers, these defunct outlets? I think they're being propped up by big tech. If you search right now on Google and whatnot for a particular news story, you'll see some of these old school newspapers come up first, like New York Times. Why must the New York Times come up first when I'm looking for something in general? It's a pay site. It's a paywall. Why must that come up first? I don't understand how that makes any sense. Like if I'm just a regular person looking for news, why give me a pay site first? But that's what they do because they're all in bed together. And that embeddedness, if that's a word, has resulted in the Washington Redskins now having to change their name. So it is what it is. Somebody said Washington Marxists, pretty much. Washington Tear Trails, yep, pretty much. Those are some good ones right there to change it to. But again, that's the work of the woke people over at New York Times, Washington Times, et cetera, so on and so forth. That's why we say that the media, enemy of the people, the media are the ones that are just pushing the narrative in the wrong direction. That's what's going on. So it is what it is. Alrighty. Now, let's get to my next thing here before we get to Nate Cannon. I'll get to Nate Cannon in just a minute. What else we got going on? Some of you guys were saying some things in the chat. I'm going to get back to that right quick. Let's see. Oh, speaking about other teams that could be impacted by this, talking about the Atlanta Braves and who else? Chicago Blackhawks, Florida State Seminoles, the Florida Gators because of the chomp. They're saying the chomp is racist because little black kids were fed as alligator bait back in slavery days, which is untrue. That's just false. Just like the whole thing with the Willie Lynch letter, that was also false. You know, a bunch of false rumors. We're making teams change their name based off of rumors. Also, the Texas Rangers, they said that the Rangers started off as a racist organization because of how they treated black folks. Like, I'm not really sure, in the 1700s or 1800s or whatever. So because the Rangers were allegedly racist 200, 300 years ago, then that means right now in 2020, you got to change the name. It's like, there's still a job of a Ranger right now today. Okay. That doesn't mean that like, do we just change the name of Rangers in general? Do we change everything that existed back during slavery? Are we going to change the names of pots and pans because they were around during slavery? If a black person watched a pot in the year 1787, must he not ever watch a pot right now because his ancestors did it way back in the, I mean, like, where do we really start with this? Texas Rangers, that's racist. Atlanta Braves is problematic. Chicago Blackhawks, even though the Chicago Blackhawks have written permission from the Blackhawks, like from that actual tribe, from them, they have permission. Okay. Same thing about the Washington Redskins. That was, the logo was drawn by a native man. His name was Blackie. I forget his real name, but nickname was Blackie of the Blackfeet tribe. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But a native man actually drew the logo. And the logo is like his face, and it has pride. It's a strong logo. A lot of natives appreciated the Native American imagery and the name because you don't forget about them. A lot of people forget natives even exist. They think natives are like Mexicans or white people, but no, they actually exist. They're real people that are around right now today. People live in reservations today, so don't forget them. When you see the Washington Redskins, you don't forget. Atlanta Braves, you don't forget. Chicago Blackhawks, you don't forget. But I guess that, that's racist nowadays to have team names that represent Native Americans. And the same thing with black folks. It's racist to have a lady on a box who's been there for like 130 years, whose family still gets a check right now to this day from that. Same thing with the Uncle Ben's Rice, the man that was on it, still gets a check right now to this day. I think the man that's on the box of not cream of wheat, but Uncle Ben's Rice, that man was actually at Maitre D in the Chicago hotel, and the company execs loved the restaurant. They liked him. They loved the spot. They liked him. And they approached him and say, hey, do you want to be part of our campaign? Do you want to be on the boxes, that, and the third? And he agreed. And ever since then, like almost like 100 years ago, he's been getting the check. His family's been getting the check. So we want to just stop the family from getting the check. We want to stop his black family from getting paid for mislikeness. Same thing with Aunt Jemima. You don't want our family to get paid for unlikeness anymore because some woke folks, some random liberals that don't even eat rice at all want to say it's racist. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Alrighty. But let's get to my next topic that's on deck here. Now, the St. Louis couple, I'm going to talk about them right quick, then I'm going to get to Nick Cannon. The St. Louis couple, remember I talked about them. They were outside of their home defending themselves because they're trying to just have dinner on the porch, minding their own business. All of a sudden, here comes a horde, a literal horde of people, like, I don't know, 300, 500 deep, breaking through their gate, threatening them. I was reading more about that, and the husband gave more details. He was saying, first of all, in the previous interview, he was saying you cannot get to the mayor's house through that particular area where they were. So it's like the excuse of, we're trying to go to the mayor's house. I mean, is that really real? I'm not really sure. But anyway, he was saying that when they broke in the gate, they were confronting them, talking about, well, we're going to kill you in the house. We're going to take your house. That's going to be my bedroom. That'll be my bedroom. I'm going to take a shower in there. Like, they were like taking claim to their house with hundreds of people, angry, yelling, and everything else. All right. The media will tell you, they were just peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters. They were African Americans. They weren't trying to harm a fly, this, that, and the third. But the reality is that the group was mixed, probably majority white, and they were busting in the gate unlawfully, breaking and entering almost like not into their home, but into their private property. And then they're threatening them. They're aggressive. They're hateful. They got like a lot of negative energy towards the couple. So the couple had to defend themselves the best way possible. Now, apparently Trump had quietly intervened and sent people down there to protect them. Thank God for that, because if there was somebody there to protect them, who knows what could have happened? Anything could have happened. It could have been a very bad situation that unfolded, unfortunately. Now, I think that they might get indicted. Now, if they get indicted, that's going to be a lengthy battle, because the couple are lawyers, number one, and number two, they've been around for a very long time. They're not morons, so they're going to have good lawyers. You're going to have the federal government involved with it. So the prosecutor, Kimberly Gardner, may be in way over her head on this one. But I think they might get prosecuted on what I'm not really sure, because Castle Doctrine should cover them. They should be able to not even have to deal with trial, because of Castle Doctrine. It clearly states that you're able to use force, deadly force, when your home, your life, your livelihood is being threatened, which it was. If you're on your front porch getting ready to eat dinner, here comes a horde of hundreds of people, not just a couple people, hundreds of people coming through, threatening you, screaming at you, talking about they're going to kill you. What are you going to do? Castle Doctrine should be in effect at that particular moment and this particular situation. However, they may not necessarily be the truth at this particular time. So hopefully they are able to not get indicted, but if they do, they're going to beat it. But it shouldn't even come down to that. It should get thrown out immediately. It should be seen as kind of a frivolous thing to charge them with anything, because they were defending themselves. But once you got this superstar SJW prosecutor, Kimberly Gardner, these things happen. When you got guys out here, shooting, robbing, raping, killing, then he cannot get convicted for some reason. He cannot get brought up on charges. And when you do, it's like little ticky-tack stuff. You give him 5 years in the penitentiary. He comes home in 3, comes out again to kill somebody else, rape somebody else. That's par for the course. But then the couple over here wanting to defend themselves, regular, everyday, innocent people getting brought up on charges. What are you even doing? People like that, like Kimberly Gardner, shit get thrown in the game when making big rocks in the little rocks. That's what's going on with that. My humble opinion. But anyway, Let's talk about your man, Nick Cannon. Now, Nick Cannon. Let's talk about him right quick. Now, a lot of you guys don't know who Nick Cannon is. That's funny. But I'm gonna tell you right quick. Then we're gonna get into what happened. Now, Nick Cannon is an entertainer who is most known to be a host. He did like music. So you may have seen some stuff from him. He had music. He had a song with R. Kelly called Gigolo, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But you would see him most doing hosting stuff. He hosts The Masked Singer, and he also hosts a show called Wildin' Out on MTV. Wildin' Out is a show where, how can I explain it? It's kind of a comedy roast type show with rap involved. If you ever seen the comedic roast, it's similar to that, but with rapping and different ways to roast somebody. That's basically what Wildin' Out is. And The Masked Singer, of course, you know what that is. Celebrities go in there with a mask and a costume on, and they perform different songs. And the whole game is to guess who is actually the singer. All right. And I think the contestants at home vote for whoever they like the best. I'm not really sure how that works. I don't really watch TV. But anyway, so he hosts a few shows. He also used to host America's Got Talent and was up for a contract of like $10 million a year. But he was on that woke stuff too back then. Also in movies. He was in movies as well. I think he was in Drumline. So he's an actor, entertainer, rapper, host. But you would see him most as a host. Now, let's go back to the whole thing with America's Got Talent, why he didn't get renewed. When he was on America's Got Talent, he was doing some of this same woke stuff. He's also like a comedian, a stand-up comedian. Oh, I forget the main thing. He was married to Mariah Carey, got 2 kids with her. He has twin boys, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they got divorced, but it's a different story. Now, when he was on America's Got Talent, he was doing stand-up comedy at the same time. And his stand-up special, he was saying things that are kind of along this same line, but not quite. I forget exactly what the issue was with his stand-up routine, but he said some offensive things, and he didn't really want to back down or apologize for it. And NBC didn't like that too much, so they're like, look, okay, we got to do something. This ain't really working out too well. And Nick Cannon wasn't really trying to cooperate. And then during that meeting, he was dropping N-words, talking about NBC. NBC stands for N-word, be careful, just stupid stuff, right? So as a result of that, he was terminated from America's Got Talent and replaced with Tyra Banks. Now, like I said, this contract was like $10 million a year. I'm not sure why your comedy routine is that important to the point where you're going to lose that kind of money. But anyway, he lost that particular thing. But he kept wilding out, and he was still able to work. Now, his most recent infraction is on his podcast, Cannon's Class, with Professor Griff. Now, Professor Griff was on Public Enemy back in the day, but he was fired by Chuck D for the same thing Nick Cannon did, anti-Semitism, all right? He was fired way long time ago. So at this point, Public Enemy is just Chuck D, the S1Ws, and Flav occasionally. Usually it's Chuck D and the S1Ws. But anyway, so Nick Cannon has a podcast with Professor Griff as the host, and they're talking about, oh, blacks are the real Jews, we're the real chosen people, and, you know, they've stolen our birthright, meaning Jews that you see right now in Israel, people that are Jews. He's saying that they stole black people's birthright. And since they stole it, the things that they have come as a result of the theft. That was what they were saying, basically, you know, calling Jews thieves and denying them their heritage, all that kind of stuff. So as a result of that, he got fired because he didn't want to apologize. They gave him a chance. When I say they, I mean ViacomCBS. ViacomCBS, they own a lot. They own the main things, obviously, Nickelodeon, BET, CMT, and what else? They own a lot. And since he was fired from ViacomCBS, that means no more Wildin' Out. Wildin' Out comes on MTV, which is part of ViacomCBS. Nick Cannon had been with Viacom as a company since the late 90s when he was on All That, the variety show. So you're talking about over 20 years of being with one particular company or being affiliated with them, gone because he did not want to apologize for the anti-Semitic comments, right? They gave him a chance. They said, hey, you know, you had some comments on your podcast. They were anti-Semitic. We need you to apologize for that and acknowledge that they're anti-Semitic. He didn't want to do that, so he got terminated. And it was so crazy that he got terminated because they did it immediately. There was going to be a rerun of Wildin' Out on MTV at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And rather than showing Wildin' Out, they showed The Fresh Prince. When I say they fired him, they instantly wiped him away. Now, he did not only say anti-Semitic comments in the podcast, there were also anti-white comments. Now, I'm going to talk about that and why that wasn't really a big deal. Now, the anti-white comments were like, you know, white people, they came from the Nordic mountains, also the Caucasus, which are not anywhere close to each other. You know, the Nordic mountains, so you're talking about like Norway, that's way, way far away, like in Northern Europe. And the Caucasus are actually in Asia. That's like at the border of the former USSR. You're talking about like Azerbaijan and Armenia, where Kim K is from. And fun fact, Nick Cannon used to date Kim K, but anyway, pro-black, right? Whatever. The Caucasus is right there by Iran, Iraq, Iran and Azerbaijan and whatnot. So nowhere close to each other, but anyway, whites came from the Nordic mountains and the Caucasus, and they basically had no humanity, and they were really savages and beasts, and, you know, they had to rape, steal, rob, pillage in order to survive, you know, all kind of stuff. And then there was the whole thing about melanin, talking about, well, the sun is their enemy and they don't have melanin, so they're kind of like less than, and they're hating on us because they're not really up to our level. It's funny how a lot of these pro-black wokey woke guys talking about melanated beings don't really do that in their personal life. Mariah Carey, sir, you married to Mariah Carey. You got 2 kids with her, at least, if I'm not mistaken. Like, is she melanated all the way? When I first saw Mariah Carey when I was a kid, I thought she was like a regular white person. I didn't think she was black. Now, I know she's black now, but I mean, I wonder how much black Mariah Carey really has in her. I'm just trying to figure that out. That's a common pattern you see with a lot of the pro-blacks. They talk about melanin and you got to be deep melanated. They don't do that in their regular everyday life. That's kind of how that goes. But anyway, so the anti-white comments pretty much flew under the radar. It wasn't really a big deal. Now, the reason why is because the anti-white comments are generally ignored by white people. That's the problem. The anti-Jewish comments are not ignored by Jewish people. Whites allow it. And not all whites are down with it, obviously. Most white people that I know don't like being insulted, but a lot of the white liberals, people that are really in power, they, I guess, enjoy being insulted, or they feel like if you're black or some kind of marginalized group, then you don't really know any better and it's no big deal. So if you speak out against being, you know, attacked because you're white, then you're seen as a racist, and it's usually by other white people that do it. You know, so a lot of these white nationalists, when they say they want to go back to Europe, I'm like, why? For what? The people that live there don't even really believe in the white nationalists you're talking about. Okay, you go to Western Europe, they're not really into the whole white nationalism thing. That's just not really what's going on. So what are you even really doing? But anyway, you can say whatever you want about whites and it's fine, because generally whites are not going to be offended enough to say anything, or it's not really going to make the level of, how can I say, it won't really be as strong as when Jews come out and say, you know what, we're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior from you. All right. ViacomCBS obviously is owned by Sumner Redstone and his family. Sumner Redstone and his family are Jewish, so you can't just go in there and say whatever you want to say about Jewish people on ViacomCBS, which is owned by Jewish. Like, imagine if it's me, right? I have a big company, big corporation, and it's owned by me and my family, and everybody's black that owns it. And you got a guy, let's just say Ryan Seacrest. He goes on there and says how ugly blacks are and we're savage and we're disgusting. And I approach him, I'm like, hey, sir, look, I'm black, my family's black. So what you're going to do right now is come out and apologize for being racist. You're going to say that you don't want to push any racism. And then he says, you know what? No, it's the truth. I don't care. So what? I'm going to fire him. The issue is that if you got a white person that has a thing and a black person says something that's not really right, it's not all the time that they would get reprimanded or fired or anything like that. So that's generally what's going on. You can say something about a white person and it's fine, but if you are a white person saying something about a black person, then it's not fine. It doesn't work the other way around. Nick Cannon thought maybe in his mind that the same thing you could do with whites applies to Jewish people, and it doesn't. That's not the same thing because, like I said, all the white stuff wasn't even really a factor. It's just like, oh, whatever. But the Jewish stuff was a factor because some people defend themselves, some people don't. When you're talking about media and whatnot. Now, whose fault is that? That's a good question to ask. But it is what it is. So Nick Cannon has been fired from ViacomCBS. And now he's talking about, well, look, you guys swindled Wildin' Out for me. It's $1 billion brand. I want my show back. It's like, wait a minute, sir. ViacomCBS owns Wildin' Out. You don't own Wildin' Out. You don't have any leverage here, sir. They could just totally get rid of that and it'd be nothing. Now, from what I know, Wildin' Out is a big show. Probably the biggest show on MTV. I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't watch television really, but it could be their biggest show. But at a certain point, you're going to set an example. So if they just let Nick Cannon ride and say whatever he wants to say with no apology, then that'll be the precedent that's set so others do the same thing. And then it'll just be like, all right, we're a Jewish-owned place and we keep getting attacked by our own employees. How does it make any sense at all? You're not going to be here anymore. So they cut him, set an example, and it is what it is. Anybody could do that same thing if they have control over what they're doing. Nick Cannon should have been trying to move Wildin' Out to somewhere else if he wanted to be this woke SJW, having this podcast talking about Jew this, Jew that. I mean, what are you thinking about, sir? And the thing about it is Nick Cannon was being irresponsible because you have this big platform where everybody in the world is watching and you're saying things that you know are going to get you in trouble. And it's not just you got to worry about. You got employees and Wildin' Out, people that aren't rich like Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon could just say, you know what? I quit. What do you have? America's Got Talent. I quit Wildin' Out. I quit The Masked Singer and live off residuals. He's rich already. You were married to Mariah Carey. You got money. So, I mean, he could just do something else totally on his own platform just for fun and be good. But he did not decide to take his show and try to put it in his name first before he started to do this. So now everybody on the show is pretty much in limbo. People that work the show, what are they going to do now? What's going to be their next course of action as far as work? If you've been there for like 5-6 years, what are you going to do? Okay, when you're in the level of executive or boss or whatever, you got to be responsible because it ain't just you got to worry about. It's others around you got to worry about. People that work for you, been with you for a long time. What are they going to do now? So it is what it is. But again, thank y'all for being here. Most certainly appreciate you. You guys are fantastic. You are the best audience on the internet. Yeah, it was funny how you said he's oppressed. It's like, okay, now you're oppressed. How many oppressed billionaires? Well, he's not a billionaire. How many oppressed, like, super millionaires do you know? It ain't really that many. Okay, Nick Cannon is far from oppressed. Nick Cannon has a lot of money. All right. That's the reason why he says what he says, because he has so much money, he don't even really care. It's like, whatever, I'm rich, so what? I'll say what I want. All righty. Now, yeah, I remember Roseanne, I forgot what she did. What she said, the N-word or something like that on Twitter. I don't know what it was. But Roseanne lost her show. They took her off the show. Like, the name of the show was Roseanne, and they changed it to The Connors. Talking about, like, she died and everything else. Like, and I was watching that show. I don't even watch TV, okay? I was watching that show when it would come on. Like, I made it an effort to turn on the TV and watch that show because I enjoyed the original Roseanne. But when they did that, I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to watch Dan cry about his wife that died. I don't really want to hear that too much. I want to see Roseanne, you know, but that's what happens. But hey, if people want to say whatever they want to say, get your own platform, do your own thing. If you want to be on a different person's platform on the big corporate thing, you got to abide by their rules. As simple as that. You can't cry about being oppressed. You signed up for it, sir. You know what time it is. You know what the rules are, what the regulations are. You can't just break the rules and do whatever you want and act like you are entitled to a thing that you are not entitled to. Okay? He will not get Wildin' Out back. If he wants Wildin' Out, that show, he'll have to buy it from Viacom. And they might not sell it just out of being petty. Like I said, when they fired Nick Cannon, they took their show off the air immediately. The minute could still be on the air, But nah, because when they want to just drop him, they want to drop any ties with him. Not even just to, fire him, to not have him and their brand mixed together. It's more than money. It's about representation in the company. You don't want that person to be affiliated with you because of what they stand for. That's pretty much what's going on. Right, exactly, Flipmo. Yes, exactly. If a white person said the things that Nick Cannon said about black people, then Nick Cannon would not be trying to defend them, talking about all this and that and the third. Oh, speaking about the defense, you're going to see plenty of defense for Nick Cannon for what he said, because what he said about whites and Jews and whatnot is very common among the black woke folks. I was hearing all that stuff when I was like 16, 17. I've been hearing that pretty much for the better part of 20 years. This is nothing new at all, okay? But Nick Cannon was the only moron to go on TV and say it. But I've been hearing that since I've been a kid. Like, that ain't nothing new at all. That's like barbershop talk or, woke talk. That's like, Farrakhan and, the Muhammad's. If you see a guy in the center median when it's like 105 degrees outside with a suit on and the bow tie selling you incense and oils, if you talk to him about that, he'll say the same thing. Okay, that's kind of what's going on. Them kind of guys say that. That's just really normal. And Professor Griff, another guy, said the same thing. They do that. All right. Now, they can say whatever they want, but like, freedom of speech. People talk about, oh, he has freedom of speech, ABL. Well, what does freedom of speech really mean? Does freedom of speech mean you can say whatever you want in my company and I gotta just take it and I don't have any freedom of my own? It goes both ways. We both have freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to do different things. You had the freedom to say whatever you want to say. You could not get locked up for your speech. That's all that really means. Freedom of speech means you can't get locked up for saying something like that. He can say the anti-Semitic and racist stuff about whites, and that's fine. He can't get locked up for it, but people can react to it in a way that's lawful. Now, what they can't do is what happened to the young lady out there in Indianapolis and shoot her and kill her. You can't do that. That's murder is still illegal, but you can respond in kind. You have freedom of speech as well. You cannot get locked up for doing what you want to do as relates to speech. You can fire him, you can reprimand him, you can do whatever you want. You can have a contract that states you cannot say certain things and it's valid to sign. You agree on it. I'm not violating your rights. It is what it is. Okay. If a contract states you cannot say X, Y, and Z out on the show or in public as part of your, your package deal, your appearance representing the company, then it is what it is. It's just like officers, they get fired for saying things while they're in uniform. While you're in uniform, you can't say certain things. And if you do say certain things, then you can get fired for that because you represent the company while you're saying that. A guy like Nick Cannon is a celebrity, a very well-known person. You cannot just say whatever you want while representing the company, which is all the time. So it is what it is. All right. But yeah, hit the like button for me right quick if you enjoyed what you're hearing so far. And if you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and subscribe right now. And when you do so, click the button as well. Click the bell, not the button. Click the bell so you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. Alrighty. Yeah, people have been fired for less. Now, people talking about Puff, P. Diddy's gonna hire Nick Cannon. Well, hire him to do what? They're talking about bringing Wildin' Out to Revolt, but Wildin' Out is owned by ViacomCBS. So it's not just so simple. In order for Nick Cannon to bring Wildin' Out to Revolt, he has to buy it from Viacom. If he does not buy it from Viacom and just, brings it over there, that's a copyright violation. You're talking about getting sued, like to know, like if he brought Wildin' Out to not Viacom, to Revolt, which is owned by Comcast. But anyway, if he was to bring that to Revolt, he would get sued like out of his mind. That he would get sued to the point he'd be homeless. So he can't do that. Not at all. All right. But yeah, shout out to the Goya boycott. To switch gears right quick, the Goya boycott didn't work out too well. They were like selling out of Goya. I got a picture right quick. Let me see if I can put it on the screen for you. He got the Goya. Goya is so much in demand, you can only buy like 2 at a time. It's kind of like toilet paper, how everybody was trying to buy that right quick because for some reason. I'm not really sure. Now, as far as Goya, I understand people want to they want to buy it because of the boycott. They want to donate it. I get that part, but the TP, I'm not really sure what was the whole reasoning behind that. Here's the image right here on the screen. So you see the Goya chickpeas and the black eyed peas. The sign right up under it says, because of an increased demand, customers are limited to 2 of each item in this section. Thanks for understanding. So that whole boycott didn't work out as well. Like, it didn't. People don't really care about, oh, we're going to boycott Goya because they like Trump or whatever. I mean, the CEO said like 5 words about Trump that were nice. 5 words, like 10 seconds of nice words about Trump. What's the big deal? He also was in the White House during Obama's term and was nice to them. So what's the big, if he's called to be in the White House or to be at a place that's important, he'll show up and he'll be kind and nice. I mean, we used to be like that in America. We used to have manners. Well, I think most Americans still have manners. Most Americans are still nice. But a lot of people that are out there in the woke sphere, the Twitter sphere, they're rude, they're disgusting human beings. And like, that's kind of why Twitter sometimes can be a toxic place, because you have a lot of toxic people that run it, that operate a lot in it and just spread their views just kind of randomly, but it is what it is. Thank y'all for joining. I'm going to certainly appreciate you. And what else we got going on? Oh, AOC did not say anything about the increased sales. Oh, let's talk about AOC right quick. That's a good question, Ken. Speaking about AOC. Now, did you guys see my video about AOC? But she's talking about, hey, if you defund the police, and there's no more police, it's like a suburb. That'd be the equivalent. Like, you could turn a dangerous neighborhood with crack and guns and shooting into a suburb. It's like, come on, lady, that's not how that works. A dangerous neighborhood without police becomes more dangerous. You're talking about The Purge. You're talking about World War Z, Last of Us, zombie invasion. You're talking about just pure mayhem. I've lived in a chaotic environment like that before. I've been in a crack house when I was a little boy, 5 years old, had smoke blown in my face. I've been in a situation where you got fiends running around. Like, people talking about legalizing drugs. It's like, no, you don't want that, because you can legalize drugs when you live in a nice area and the dope fiends don't come to your front doorstep. But I've been in an area where dope fiends just run wild like roaches. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking just crazy, ridiculous stuff. They do things you don't even really understand. Like at night, especially. Oh my goodness. It's a mess. You don't want to live there. Okay. If you are in a drug infested area, you got to have a gun, because you get a fiend at your door a fiend will kill you over $5. You understand what I'm saying? Especially when they're on PCP, they got a superhuman strength. They'll kill you over $5 to get their next fix. So, nah. But anyway, without the police, you're going to have mayhem. You're already starting to see the effects of no police, when the police have not even really been disbanded yet. In New York City, they disbanded the gang unit. It's some kind of unit that actually my man Giuliani put into place. And that unit cleaned up Times Square. It cleaned up Bed-Stuy. It cleaned up really, tough areas of New York, to say it lightly. It cleaned those areas up. Now the unit is gone. You're going to have lawlessness return to those areas. And people say, oh, minority communities have too much policing. What do you mean? You got to have more police in the more dangerous area. Less dangerous areas have less police. It's simple as that. If I lived in a war zone, I want to have more police. That's like saying, okay, you have an active war zone, right? You got stuff happening all the time. So the soldiers that are right there in the war zone should just retreat, because if the soldiers leave, then the war would be over. It's like, no, I mean, the war might be over. The war would be over, but the other side would win. You would lose the war. And that's what's happening right now in the cities where the police are having to back off. The war is being lost. The criminals are winning. Now, most people are not criminals. You understand? Most people are not criminals. However, people are criminals. There are some criminals that exist. So when they're allowed to just run them up and roam free, you're going to have more crime, more violence, more general lawlessness. All right. So talking about if you just, have no more police, things become better. That's not how that works. Uh, Without police, a dangerous area becomes more dangerous. How that works. But AOC does not really understand that. She comes from the suburb area, not a very smart person, a few fries short of a Happy Meal, a few plates short of an entire China set, not really dealing with a full deck upstairs, does not really understand that. She knows her experience about living out in the suburbs with less police. And then she goes to the inner city and sees more police. She's like, oh, why is this happening? It's because, number one, you live in a more densely populated area. But number two, you have more crime, more lawlessness, more chaos here. Okay. Now, to anybody that says, okay, I want to have no police, defund the police. Okay, well, you live in an area with no police, and a very dangerous area with no police. Like, if a neighborhood is dangerous and had a very high police presence to keep the danger down, and then the police leave, you live there for a good month. Just live, work, eat, sleep, do all that there. Don't come there at night just to sleep. Nah, live there every day and see how you like it. See how dangerous it is. Okay? Duck down from the gunshots. Enjoy that. Enjoy that feeling. Matter of fact, just stay on the ground because you're going to see a lot of drive-bys and you're going to have bullets whizzing through your window. All right? So just stay on the flat ground to avoid all that good stuff. All right? People, when they experience it, then they understand. But before they experience it, sometimes they don't really get it. They can't really process it in their pea brains. You understand what I'm saying? So it is what it is. All right. Now, somebody asked me about Wayfair. I think the whole thing with Wayfair is just not really real. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 because, that was the big thing like last week, right? Oh, Wayfair, they're selling kids. But now I don't hear anything about it anymore. Matter of fact, I put it on my Twitter and I was like, is Wayfair still selling kids or is that hype dead now? That's what I said on my Twitter. People are saying it just kind of disappeared. I don't know. I don't see anything else about it. Now, if they were selling kids and that was really going on and it stopped, well, shouldn't there be some kind of follow-up about the kids that were stolen and sold on the site, charges being brought up? People, names being mentioned. I don't see anything more about it. It was just kind of a Twitter fad that kind of came and went. I don't see anything about it anymore. So it's just kind of strange. Yeah, the whole thing with Wayfair is just not really real. Alrighty. So I'm not really too much. Yeah, it was fake news. Exactly. It was fake news. Now, somebody says get on Parler. I'm not going to get on Parler. I've said it before, but I'll say it one more time. Why should I get on Parler? Like Gab at one point was the new hot wave. Why Parler versus Gab? And the thing about Parler is that it's locked behind a login wall, and you can't you cannot index your tweets or your parles, whatever they're called over there. So I feel like it's a way to kind of muzzle people on the right, because if you are shifting your focus to Parler or having things over on Parler, people can't really see it except for those that are already on the site. And to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like my YouTube, for example, what if I had everything behind a login wall? I mean, people wouldn't really, like, as of right now that I've grown a lot over the past month and a half, about 70% of my videos are viewed by those that are not subscribed to me. So if I put all my videos behind a login wall, people just wouldn't see it. Like the subscription would be the equivalent to logging in, I guess. Now, if that makes any sense. So, nah, I'm not a fan. I just stay on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. They're flawed, of course, but so is Parler. Parler, it's not totally free speech, because if you say things like if you curse and like, I think it was something you couldn't show poop or like just random things. It was like 3 or 4 things that are censored on Parler that are not censored over on Twitter. So, nah, I'm good. Now, I don't like Twitter and their censoring and stuff like that, but I don't think there's a perfect platform that exists. I think I'm trying to build my website up because Parler or Twitter or Facebook, I got my own website where I can say wherever I want. So when I do a video, a lot of times on YouTube, I know I can't put certain things on here because it's too graphic, or, it's just too much for YouTube. It'll get flagged, it'll get blocked or whatever. But my website is mine. I own it. Nobody else owns it. It's me, 100%. It's mine. So I put whatever I want on my website and it's good. That's my platform. I can say whatever I want. So I'll link to the website from Twitter, from my YouTubes, and I can say what I want there. That's kind of how I get around that whole thing. All right. So that's pretty much what I do. I don't rely on the social media platforms to just approve everything I do. If I know it's kind of spicy, controversial, I put it on the website. Just like the whole thing with the Seattle. Remember the Seattle accident? Well, it was an accident. I don't want to use air quotes. The accident where the guy hit the people on the road. Now, I could not show that footage of the people being, flown up in the air like rag dolls here on YouTube. So he's like, okay, if you want to see that, link to it in the box. Go to my website. It's right there. That's kind of how that works. So it is what it is. Yeah, I'm not going to go on Parler, but thank you though. I'm really kind of busy anyway. I have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and my website. So I'm just really busy. Brand new tube. Never heard of brand new tube before. Alrighty, BitChute. I may do BitChute because I can use that like as I could put certain videos on there and then put it on my website exclusively. So I may do BitChute just because it would go on my website. But I will not use Parler because it's not even, you can't even embed it. Like when you go to my website, you'll see articles that have tweets embedded on there. You can't even do that if the parls or whatever they're called are locked behind the login wall. You see what I'm saying? Like you can just go to my website without having any social media at all and read certain tweets that are on there because Twitter does not require you to log in before you see tweets. So that's kind of how that works. Alrighty. Let me see. All right. What else we got going on? I want to read something right quick. Slime says, is being able to see poop that important to you? I mean, no, but that's not even the point, obviously. The point is that Parler is also a place that censors. They're not totally free speech. You can't say whatever you want on Parler. All right. They're going to censor you and flag you for things as well as Twitter does. They may not flag you for the same things as Twitter flags you for, maybe, but they will flag you and censor you. So it's not just a free speech place. The free speech place is my website where I could do what I want as long as it's not illegal. As long as I'm not on there selling drugs or guns or something crazy like that, I can say what I want. And nobody who's going to stop me from saying what I want is my website. The most they could do is remove ads, but I don't even really make that much money on ads anyway, so I don't even really care. It's not even no big deal. Alrighty. So let's get to some super chats. And thank you all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video. That'll help out tremendously. And super chats on deck. I'm going to refresh right quick so we can go ahead and get to it. Yeah, the whole blocking the road thing is crazy. Hopefully they don't block the roads anymore. I'm seeing more and more accidents on the road, and people got to understand you cannot just be on the road blocking cars. Like, it's dangerous because you asking for an accident, even if they don't really want to hit you on the road, you're begging for it to happen because you're on the road blocking traffic. Okay, like if I'm driving at a normal speed and here comes you and your little BLM protest hitting behind the car, and I just happen upon you and I can't stop in time, I'm going 75 miles an hour. I mean, what's going to happen? Like at a certain point, we got to use our brains and common sense here. All right, let's talk for a minute and think about that. If you're on the interstate, it's at night, it's dark, I can't see you, I'm traveling, you're hiding yourself behind cars, and I'm coming around the bend, and what am I going to do? You're gonna be roadkill, unfortunately. All right, super chats on deck. Thank you to Steve Reno Plays for the donation. Thank you to Chris Showalter for your donation, says 100. Thank you to Apu Bakar Al Puff Daddy, who says, shout out to the Filipino community of Tennessee. Can you get my main man ABL some smoking hot lumpia ASAP, please? Hey, you know what? That's what I want, because around where I live, like I search for lumpia on Google Maps. You gotta drive way out to like Nashville or something. It's like, man, I need some lumpia out here, like close to Georgia. Like you gotta go to Atlanta or Nashville or maybe Knoxville, but it's like kind of far. Can I get some right here, please? Thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Retro Gamer 81, who says on November 3rd, Democrats and liberals will vote for Biden. Americans will vote for Trump. There you go. Like how you said that Americans vote for Trump. The other people, they'll vote for your guy. Let me see. Thank you to Jeremiah B, who says, why didn't you cover the Deshaun Jackson, Steven Jackson, Malcolm Jenkins fiasco last week over anti-Semitic comments? Something bigger is going on. Yeah, I did see that, but I didn't have enough time to cover that. Now, I forgot to mention that in this video here. That's normal. That's part for the. I was saying that, but not really speaking to them specifically. This is normal in the black community. Now, a brief recap of that story. Deshaun Jackson, was it Deshaun Jackson? Anyway, NFL player. He put up something about Jews and whatnot on his Instagram page, some anti-Semitic stuff, and then he kind of like apologized, but then doubled down on it. And Steven Jackson, a former NBA player, no relation to Deshaun, got the same last name, coincidentally. He defended him, talking about, well, it was the truth, all this, that, and the third. Malcolm Jenkins, I'm not really sure what he did, if he piled in on it to say that it was true. But this is what I'm trying to tell people. This is normal in the black community, that kind of talk. Not everybody thinks that way, but it's not uncommon to hear that at all. So this is just kind of par for the course. Like when I heard your man said Nick Cannon, I was like, yep, that's pretty much how that goes. But ain't nothing really going on. You got guys that are just using their social media platforms irresponsibly. That's all. They think that they're just being woke, but they're really just not being smart. Thank you to Chris Showalter for becoming an ABL superstar, joining the club. Thank you to Trek God 79, who says, thanks for great content. Keep it up. Will do. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Thank you to Chris Showalter for the thumbs up. Thank you to Naj Shabira, who says, loved your commentary on Nick, on point and 100% true. Thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate you. Retro Gamer 81 says, are you buying into the Hollywood pedal ring stuff? I don't really know a lot about it. I know there are some people in Hollywood that get down like that, but I don't know about the ring. I know about Jeffrey Epstein and what he was doing, but as far as Hollywood, I don't know. If there's something there, I wouldn't doubt it, but I don't know a lot about it. Thank you to Dan Agaliotis for the on-set emoji and a donation. Thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate it. Thank you to Orlando, who says, I missed your open statement about Nick. I admire his guts, not apologizing, but praising Louis Farrakhan does not actually exactly inspire unity. Exactly. Thank you for that. Shout out to EC Band 1, who says, why don't they rename them what they are, the Washington Woke? Thank you to Musso Bronze, who says, I bet Washington trans scans will be widely accepted, but I digress. Facepalm, salute ABL 100. Thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate you. Thank you to Rebecca Maynard, who says, I was born in prison, shot by the time I was 3, and police went into my house at 6 with guns drawn even to my head. Guess what? I'm a white female. Wow. That's a crazy life right there. I'm glad you're still here with us. Thank you for your donation. Most certainly appreciate you. You know, this whole thing about white privilege and stuff like that, you know, like I said before, I was born in West Virginia. I've seen some of the poorest of the poor. You know, this whole inner city poverty has nothing on like rural poverty. You're talking about no running water, nothing. Just absolutely nothing. You got to hunt for food, canned food for the winter, that kind of thing. People that live like totally off the grid, kind of like by force, not even by choice. So people don't really understand that type of world. So thank you for your donation and your story. Thank you to Sack3, who says, love your channel, called in Washington Foreskins. Thank you to Vincent Angel, who says, thank you with the super chat of the with the emoji of the person of the emoji bowing. That's why I can say it. Thank you to Mike from Queens, who says they did a wilding out on Nick Cannon. Thank you to T-Land, who says the pot did call the kettle black. Thank you to Beth Marie Evans, who says Arkansas calls in guard to take virus patients, unknown isolation unit. Wow. I've not heard about that one. I need to look into it. Thank you to Leo Mazzino, who says the prosecutor misconduct from taking the guns away, possibly not a lawyer. Thank you to Chris Showalter for the 100 emoji donation. Thank you to Tony Boswell, who says there are 2,200 in the chat. Smash that like button and show support. Now we got 3,200. And thank you all again for being here. Like the man said, hit that like button if you like what you're hearing so far, if you're enjoying the content in general. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe right now. It's free. And when you subscribe, click that bell right there. If you click the bell, you get notified whenever I go live and/or post a new video. Thank you to Vicky Perro for the emoji that says #1 fan. Thank you to Chris Showalter, who says keeping it 100. Thank you for that. Thank you to Plumber Works, who says, you are a great man, Mr. Logan. Thank you for that. Thank you to David Johnson, who says, Black Lives Matter is protesting right now in front of the police station, talking about defund the police. Crazy. For what, though? Like, what's even the purpose of that? Like, they're going to defund the police, and people that are out there right now protesting in favor of that will be crying when they actually do it, but actually got to be faced with a dangerous environment to live in. Thank you to NR for the donation. I definitely appreciate you. It's a #1 fan. Thank you to Mordecus, who says the Washington surrenders. The Washington white flags. How about that? I like that one. Thank you to Mr. Angry, who says the theory that, quote, black people are the real Hebrews, unquote, is from Hitler's book, Mein Kampf. Weird Nick would subscribe to it, and at the same time, they say melanin gives you extra empathy. You know what? Black supremacists and white supremacists are not much different from each other. So it's like, why would somebody that's like super woke even fear a white supremacist? Pretty much on the same page with a lot of things. Not everything, but a lot of things. So thank you for that. Thank you to Brad Aquilin, who says, thank you, ABL, and all you great American patriots out there. Thank you for that. Thank you to Steve Cutts, who says, I'm talking to myself, ABL, sitting outside listening to music, playing with my dog. I said to myself out loud, it's Wednesday night, ABL's on. Hey, I'm glad you're right here, boss. Thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Orlando, who says, Nick Cannon also stated, quote unquote, why the underprivileged or oppressed had to rob, kill, rape, etc. It was to be heard. He excused his despicable behavior. Hey, you're not surprised, are you? I'm not surprised either. Thank you to Naj Shabira, who says, spilling that tea, yes, keep it coming. Thank you for that. Thank you to Hudson Jackson II, who says, there's an institution more racist than a hereditary monarchy. Thank you to Greg C, who says, keep it up with the workout emoji. Thank you for that. Thank you to Sis. I'm sorry about the name butchering. It's not my fault. Blame the white man. But anyway, thank you to Sisphius Wins, who says, I'm normally cheap with my food, but I paid an extra 29 cents for Goya brand frozen corn. Much love to you from the People's Republic of Chicago. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Monster Blood, who says, how's he going to say anything when Mariah is half white? I'm trying to figure that out, Monster Blood. I'm just saying. But that's par for the course, though. A lot of these wokey woke guys get with, like, either a white woman or a person that's very close to being white. That's really normal. Tariq Nasheed, another one. Tariq Nasheed, so-called Mr. Woke himself, talking about whites are the devil, white supremacy, this, white supremacy, that, is married to a half-white woman. His mother-in-law actually is Jewish, which is funny. But anyway, thank you for your donation. Thank you to D Hawk, who says, Goya hot salsa verde is so yummy. Thank you to Nature Boy Alfie, who says, Nikki Cannon, who is she? Thank you to Kelly Degler for your donation. Thank you to Marisa Lobu. I know butchered that, and I'm sorry for your donation. Thank you to TSM Space, who says, I know speech can lead to violence, but on the other hand, there might be value in letting the things like Cannon said to expand, to bring forward a logical reply, moving us all past these fallacies. Very good point. Hey, you got freedom of speech, right? You can say things like that, so I can come back and say things and combat it. Makes sense. But as far as your work environment, they may not like that too much, and they say, you know what? I don't like this guy working for my company insulting my people and my heritage. You know, thank you to Retro Gamer 81, who says, thoughts on Asheville, North Carolina, vote for reparations. I saw that. Now, Asheville, North Carolina says, okay, we have voted for reparations. And what they're going to do with that is, like, it won't be any cash payments. It'll be community investment and stuff like that. I'm not really sure what they want. Like, investment in black communities and black neighborhoods. What do you really want, though? All right. You already got all kind of set-asides and programs in general for poor people, regardless what your skin color is. You got WIC, EBT, TANF, Section 8, and then you have affirmative action. You got all kind of college set-asides, college scholarships. What more is needed? What more do you want? And it's weird because when you have actual investment into a community that's not government-driven, then it's like, okay, you're gentrifying a neighborhood. You're fixing it up. It's gentrifying. So a Starbucks pops up, jobs pop up, the property value goes up. That's bad. So you want to live like you're in poverty still, but operate as if you are not in poverty. That's not really how that works. Okay, that's just not. If you want to be in poverty and have things be very cheap like that, then you can't also at the same time have money. It's just like wanting to make more money and pay less taxes, like less of an actual dollar amount in tax. That's not how that goes. You can pay a lesser rate, but you're going to pay more money because you're making more money. That's kind of how it is. Thank you to Michael Cohn, who says, I had my red pill moment today after I watched your video from 2 years ago, switching the way I think, brother. Hey, thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. I'm glad I could do that for you, man. You know, I had my moment where I kind of just realized what's going on. So I'm glad you're able to have your moment as well. Thank you for that. Thank you to Janet Lynn, who says, I'm so happy I found your channel, Breath of Fresh Air. Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Thank you to Sean Connery, who says, love your work, brother. Keep it on. I will do. Thank you to Oni Hall, who says, if you don't agree with Nick Cannon, then what's your opinion of the whole black Jewish thing? It's just not really real. I mean, the main thing I could just point to is the history. Who were the ones being persecuted all over Europe, like everywhere, in Bavaria, Russia, Germany, like all over France, like all over the place. Now, when General Grant, yes, Grant, not Lee, when General Grant banished Jews from the South, like during the war, I mean, was that like for us as black people or for Jews? Like who did he banish from the South, like at that particular point in time? Okay. And it's funny because General Grant was a good guy, right? Whatever. Anyway, thank you for your donation. Thank you to Charlie Hustle, who says, it's a mess in Wilmington, Delaware. Shootings every day, including with children from ages 10 to 15 and one night at the same night. That's crazy. But that's what happens. No police or less police presence, you're going to have more violence. And it really needs to stop because it just is getting out of control at this particular point in time. Thank you to Judas Rains, who says, in regards to police, they said nothing about defunding the FBI or federal marshals. See, no police equals more crime equals citizens wanting more law. Federal law, a.k.a. KGB and Gestapo. That's right. That's what the leftists want. You know, Nazi Germany was leftist. Okay, that was a leftist movement. And didn't they also defund local police and put in their own federal people? Didn't that happen? Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But isn't that the whole thing that they did back during Nazi Germany? But they want to call us the Nazis. Funny how that works. Pot kettle black. But anyway, thank you to Ken B, who says, did you see the latest on the case of Tony Temple, the white man police smothered to death? A judge threw out a lawsuit due to qualified immunity. I did not see that, but thank you for your donation. Thank you to... Hold on, let me go back up here. All right, let me just get myself together. And thank y'all for joining. Most certainly appreciate it. You guys are fantastic. All right. Thank you to Mr. X, who says, collectivist elitism, when you are always exempt from the quote unquote great and quote unquote wonderful ways you seek to impose on everyone else. Exactly. That's how that works, ain't it? Thank you to Apu Bakr, Al Puff Daddy, who says, ABL, Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal? Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to go with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah. Shout out to my man. Steven Seagal was no slouch, though. And even when he got old, he would still beat you down, stomp you in the wine. Thank you to Praying for the Rapture for becoming an ABL superstar. Thank you to Apu Bakr, Al Puff Daddy, who says, favorite superheroes? That's a long question. I'm going to say Wolverine, X-Men. That was my favorite because we got the same last. My last name was Logan. His first name was Logan, so it just matched. And I appreciated him just kind of being a loner because I was like that too, and being a goon. So yeah, that was my guy, Wolverine. Thank you to Poofy, who says, ABL, any thoughts on the Hong Kong autonomous bill that passed this month? Why are the sanctions definitions so broad? Sounds like Patriot Act. I don't know a lot about that. I've heard about it, but I've not really read it. So I have to get back to you on that. But that's what China does. China will do things like that. Same thing with South China Sea. They're trying to have like control over the whole world. That's what they want to do. You know, they're trying to like be everywhere. Like they may start from the place of we're going to dominate the whole world to negotiate down to half the world. That might be kind of what's going on with that. Thank you to Blue Sharpie, who says, just found your channel a few days ago. I've been binge watching as time allows. Thank you. Thank you for binge watching. I appreciate you, boss. Thank you to Apu Bakr Alpha Daddy, who says, no Confederate flag in NASCAR. Who does that help? Nobody. It helps the woke folks that want to just attack anything. They want to get offended at everything. It helps those that write these think pieces to get clicks so they can keep their job at New York Times, Washington Compost, or MS-13 DNC. Thank you to Rebecca Maynard, who says, I was born in prison. I read that one. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Stephen Kutcher, who said, thanks for being you. And no problem. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Matthew Phillips, who says, listening to you through this resume seems like true Jew. Nick Cannon had a nice career of getting paid while figuring out what he's good at. Exactly. He does pretty much everything, right? Thank you to Oeeman's son, so keep it up emoji. Thank you to Praying for the Rapture, who says, was looking forward to this day. Love you and your soul. Thank you for that. Very, very kind words. Thank you to Unpopular Opinion, who says, have you noticed they don't report mass shootings anymore? Yet more people have died by firearms in the past 6 months than years past. Love the channel. Well, they don't report on that because there's no white people doing it. It's black people doing it with other black people, or whites being shot by blacks, but mostly black on black. So they don't want to report that. Most shootings are black on black. Most mass shootings are black on black. You might have a whole family that gets shot up, 8 people at once in one night. But that doesn't. You can't talk about that because that's racist. But if a white person shoots one person, then that's to be talked about if the person was black. That's kind of how the media operate. Thank you to Georgia Peaches for the #1 fan emoji. Thank you for that. And thank you to everybody else that's been here throughout the entire time. It's time for the calls now. You guys know what time it is. Let me just start Skype up right quick, see if you want to cooperate with me. And thank y'all who have already liked the video. If you're coming in for the first time right now, like the video. Go ahead and do that for me. That'll help me out tremendously. Also, subscribe and click the bell right there as well so you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. Let's do it. Start Skype up and get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658. There it is, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. If you didn't catch that, the number is always in the description box below. Alrighty. And these hats are available in the description box below as well. You can also go to ablmerch.com. Really easy to remember, ablmerch.com. Matter of fact, I'll put the link for the merch in the description box below. Let me get to it right quick. Hold on. And we're going to do that this way. Cool. So there we go. ablmerch.com. All right. Get to the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. All right, Jordan, what's happening?
Yo, ABL, what up?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
That's cool. I wanted to talk about the Nick Cannon thing right quick because it seems like the whole black supremacist message that he has, I think he's getting some influence from Louis Farrakhan because he's been doing interviews with him and stuff. And he's like, I'm listening to Louis Farrakhan and it's like, I'm agreeing with everything he says, you know? I think he's getting that from him.
Oh, yeah, all day long. Like, this is old school Farrakhan, Nation of Islam. He probably read some of the books, too. He probably read the Blacks and Jews book that came out in 1991, and also the book that Elijah Muhammad wrote in 65 called Message to the Black Man. He probably read those books, listening to Farrakhan speeches and stuff on YouTube, and got real woke, put on a turban, and now he's just like a Farrakhan copy.
Yeah, the way people end up describing black supremacists describe themselves as, oh, our melanin is strong. It's kind of dumb because the whole thing, you have to ask because the whole ideology is Yakub created everything, black people superior, and then he created white people and they swooped the earth. And it sounds dumb because it's like it contradicts itself.
Yeah, the whole Yakub thing, that's hilarious. Like that's one of the silliest things from the whole situation. Like I was surprised they didn't get into that. Yakub and the spaceship and the wheel and all that kind of stuff, because that's next. Like that's in that same train of thought, talking about Yakub creating a white man on the island, all that kind of dumb stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's just unfortunate. I don't feel bad for him. I mean, he got what he wished for, so there's nothing more I can and help him on.
I mean, like he said what he said, so it's like, okay, you're gonna stand on it. All right, well, now you gotta deal with the consequences. Oh well.
Oh, somebody said Nick Cannon just shut down his Instagram and YouTube channel.
Well,
That was in the chat. I
now
don't know if that's true.
my question would be, did he shut it down or was it shut down for him? Like I like to hear more about that.
All right. And one more thing, the thing I wanted to talk about last time, and then I'll head out. But people have saying that I should start a YouTube channel with politics and ASMR because they love my voice. let me say this. Give me time. All right. Give me like at least a year before I do anything, or when YouTube purges all conservatives.
What are you waiting on?
Well, I just don't have the time and resources. I just don't. I don't, and YouTube is saturated with political commentators. I feel like I need more time before I can settle in. Right now, I'll just chill with you.
Okay, I mean,
That's
fair enough. But there's always people that kind of like come and go. And YouTube, you got to understand, YouTube is a big place. This is the biggest search engine in the world aside from Google itself. So, I mean, you'd be surprised how deep this rabbit hole goes of people that are on here and they have followings and whatnot. You're talking about billions of people that watch this, billions of people that are on this particular platform watching content. So, it's a big place, man.
all right. I'll think on that. All right. I'll bail, ABL. I'll talk to you later.
I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Peace.
Peace. I'm sorry for the loud noise. It's not my fault, blaming the white man, but I'm gonna fix that right quick. Shout out to my man Jordan for the call. Hey, I tell anybody that says they want to start a YouTube channel, don't delay. Just go ahead and do it. Like when I had my channel, I was kind of like just putting out stuff here and there in the very beginning, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. And when I did it, it just took off. It wasn't like super rapid, but it was, pretty quick for me. All right, let's get to the next call. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Calling on the line, what's speaker to 267? Caller, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, who am I speaking to?
This is Jason.
All right, man, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Just a big fan of your channel. Been watching for a couple months now. Just appreciate everything you do.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Just wanted to see if we could actually get.
Yeah, we actually just wanted to see if we could actually get through and talk to you. It's kind of like starstruck right now.
It's all good, man. Like, what's on your mind? Anything going on with you?
No, nothing in particular. Yeah, I can't think of anything at the moment.
We'll try to call back later.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I don't want to take up. I don't want to take up anybody else's time if I can't really think of a topic to hit on.
Oh, it's all good. Well, thank you for calling. Hopefully, you're able to get on again. But and thank you for the support as well. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll definitely be calling back once I can, think of a good topic to talk about.
Gotcha. All right, I'll take care.
All right, take it easy.
All right, shout out to the caller. All right, caller, who am I speaking to? The Skype caller?
ABL, you there?
I'm right here, boss. What's your name?
All right, man. This is Alden out here in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. How you doing, young man?
Everything is great, man. Can't complain.
Excellent. Well, yeah, a lot of things you hit on running up to the taking the phone calls, and some things that hit me as I was speaking or as you were talking. Nick Cannon, he needs to get some history history lessons that are outside of his purview, because any historian knows that, and this is based on science, Italy and Spain, Europe, blue eyes, blonde hair, they were invaded, and he talks about how white people rape, murder, kill. Well, the invaders that came from the Ottoman Empire in Africa, man, they did a lot of raping because it entirely changed the complexion of those European people. I mean, I wonder if he's even familiar with that. It changed it from blue eyes to brown eyes. And that's fact, But it was really embarrassing to sit there and listen to him. And, my kids are young and they're impressionable and they hear this rhetoric. And then I gotta teach them history, And so something that I did, hopefully you'll laugh at this, man. We watched, well, they asked me, they're like, so when did society, start getting so woke? And I said, well, man, it's really a recent phenomenon. I said, it used to be we could make fun of each other. And so we watched the classic movie, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, that movie is so wonderful because people with the ethnic differences and cultural differences can laugh at each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So important because our differences are something to celebrate in many cases. You know, you talked about your preferences for your lumpias, right?
Yeah.
You said you want a Filipino woman, 45 years old, back in the kitchen with 3 other ones, working their butts off, making this great food.
That's right.
You know, and that is good stuff. You know, just a quick aside before I get to the other things. Need to try Vietnamese food. You ever you hip to it?
Oh, all the time. Like I'm there like every week. I love it. The banh mi, the sandwich, and the oh man, and the bowl. What's the bowl they have where it's like the kind of like this.
It's called pho.
The pho, yeah,
Not
yeah.
the number 4 that Leon Isaac Hayes used to say. Not that pho. It's pho.
Pho, right.
So yeah, but yeah, we do that all the time, and it's really good stuff. Sadly, we don't have a Filipino connection down here, but from the movie "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," it was interesting how during a part of the movie, Keenan Ivory Wayans goes into a black nationalist headquarters in New York, and the guy comes out and he starts talking about hating whitey and all of this and that, and out comes his wife, who is white, and his children, who are white, and they worship him like he's God.
Yep.
Okay. Now, back in the day, brother, we used to laugh at that because it's true.
It's true. Very true.
That kind of stuff happens.
That's right.
Now, but anyway, nowadays the dynamic equivalent of that is Shannon Sharp on Fox News because he loves his white women, yet he's a follower of Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
You know, so you know, I'm sure Nick Cannon, when he got fired, probably had a moment that was very similar to Dave Chappelle getting his phone call from Oprah when she's pregnant. Remember that?
Nah, I don't remember that one.
Oh, you got to look it up, dude. Dave Chappelle's at home, laying in bed. He gets a phone call. Oprah calls up, Dave, I'm pregnant. And Dave gets up and starts dancing on the bed because he's in the money now. And then he gets a call from Stedman. And anyway, great stuff on that. But anyway, a couple other things. The reparations in Asheville, that is a tremendous source of friction. For me, as a guy who's never owned slaves, my they're white dirt farmers from Ireland and Scotland. I have nothing to do in this fight, but yet, if it comes to me having to make those payments, I got a problem with that. I don't have a problem with people of color. I just want to get along in life. You were so that was an astute observation that you made about how white people just aren't that combative when it comes to the racial attacks made on us, because we have for years we've had to deal with the white guilt component of it.
Yeah.
And that is something that I just don't have because I've been in the military. Listen, I have had my butt spanked by a black woman. My neighbor, when my dad was in the military, I was a little kid. It was just a neighborhood group think. If you see one of your children messing up or a child messing up, you discipline them there, and then you get on the phone and you call dad and you just let them know what happened, and then he got it again when he got home. That's the America I grew up in.
Right. Exactly.
But when you talk about Giuliani in New York.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off, but I got like no time left, so I think
hey, listen, you keep it real, and just remember this, ABL. Always remember what it was, what it is, and what it should be. You are laying it down, and the truth is out there, and you're sharing it with us. Have a great day, my man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep.
All right, shout out to my man for the call. Great call, and thank y'all for being here. But yeah, the whole thing about the pro-black, super black guy, always white wife or like almost white, like 25% white, 25% black, pardon me, like 75% white. That's so commonplace. That's normal. That was also in Don't Be a Menace, I think. It was a scene where they're at a cookout. Here comes a super black woke guy talking about, oh, my soul sister, this, wearing all the beads and all the super black Africa stuff, trying to holler at like the whitest white girl possible. That's so normal, super normal. But let me get to the calls. 213 on line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes. Hey, this is Erica.
All right, Erica, what's going on?
Oh, I just wanted to call in and just talk to you about a few things. I just started like listening to your stuff, and I'm happy I came across you. But I just wanted to tell you that Nick Cannon, like, I just felt like he got a lot of fake woke news going on. I'm not trying to like cut into your show, but I'm just trying to figure out, why are people acting like this is something new? Like, I remember the Black Israelites going downtown, and they're always yelling through the microphone, preaching, and people ignore them. So now all of a sudden, everybody like, oh, he knows, you know what I mean? Oh, he's right. Now everybody all of a sudden believing this. When did everybody start being a part of this? Because from what I know, people have always ignored them downtown when they yell through their microphones and got their signs up. So I'm just so confused. I didn't even know that this was going on. So when I just saw you talking about it, it just made me think, like, oh my God, like, I just needed to call in to talk about this.
That's a good question, though, because like you said, it's nothing new. People been hearing about this kind of stuff. You hear it all the time. People screaming at you, the Hebrew Israelites, that's right, all this and that. So it was like, when did it all of a sudden become the thing to just believe them and what they're saying?
It really is blowing my mind. And here's the other thing. I'm so happy, by the way. I'm a little nervous, like that guy that just called. I'm a little nervous talking to you, too, because I just started getting into calling or looking at black conservatives, because, like, as you know, only thing that's really out there is about, like, Democrats, and all I know is about Democrats.
Right.
So when I started looking at this stuff, my question is, why are they hiding some of this information? Like, I feel like I'm more independent, because I don't really agree with any of the stuff that's going on. But now that I've been listening, and before I used to hear people talk about, like, you or like Candace Owens or any of these people, and I would be like, damn, like, I don't want to listen to them. That sounds crazy. Like, I don't know what she be talking about. I just automatically assume that. But when I just started listening to what y'all be saying, and it's really the total opposite of that. And I just question why it's being hidden. Like, why are y'all not having the same voice? Because I even had a couple family members, some of, you know, the content that I've been finding, and most of the people that I've showed it to agrees too. It's like the people that they make it seem like that's on the media, they make it seem like everybody agrees with the way that, you know, things are right now. But really, when you talk to people in person, people don't agree with this stuff. And I don't know about everybody else. I've only been around black people. I don't really know about everybody else. But I don't know your followers or what. But I'm just putting that out there because it's been making me, all this has just been making me so upset. But I just feel like better when I hear y'all, because obviously I know I'm not crazy, but like, I've been going to war with people now over there. Like, this is causing so much division, just all these topics, everything that just anything that you could touch, it's just causing so much division, and it really just is making everybody go crazy. And I hate that whole in the box thing, like all black people are thinking this way, when really it's the total opposite. And I be seeing all these people who don't even live in the hood, who don't even live in the cities, and they doing all the talking. But if you actually come to the inner city, the people here are not saying that at all. They don't agree with this. They think Trump funny. We think Trump funny. We all think he's funny. So I'm just like, it seems different when you see the news, and then everybody wants to just follow what everybody else is saying. But I don't want to hold up too much time. So I just wanted to put that out there to you.
Well, thank you for your call. You did a great job on the call. You put everything out there. A lot of same things I've been saying. And I appreciate you did that, because people don't really want to hear from us. People that really come from these environments, they want to hear from themselves, and they want to kind of hide what we say, because if they hide what we say, then you can't hear it, and you can't come over to our side or even think differently. they want you to be in that box
Right.
and not know anything else other than what you know. So I'm glad you're able to call in.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for the call. Appreciate you. All right, shout out to the caller. Hey, I'll be right back. Everything is fine, but apparently I got to go kill a bug right quick. I'm serious. I'll be right back. Hold on. Don't go nowhere. Matter of fact, I'll put some music on, and y'all can just hang out. I'll be back in like less than a minute. And we'll get back to the calls in just one moment. Hold on. I'm going to put the regular thing on. Now, I'm going to put this on. And then that. There we go. Right back. And I'm back. How long was that? Was that like forever? Hey, yo, this area is just weird with these bugs. Came in the front door. Hey, I got to do it. Because Tanae came in here with the tea, and then she had kind of like a look on her face, and then she texted me something about, hey, there's a bug downstairs. I'm like, oh, man. Let me go kill that and get back to the show. So I'm back, and I'm glad y'all stayed around. Let's get back to the call. The number to call is, there it is, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. 815, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, how's it going, ABL?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
I always had a couple questions for you, man, about the Supreme Court and what's been going on with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And, you know, she's been a little down on her health lately. How do you feel about her possibly stepping down and Trump having another pick for the Supreme Court? And will that happen before he gets reelected?
Now, before re-election, I'm not really sure, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been having health issues. She should have actually retired already, but I think she plans on staying there until she dies, like John McCain. But worse than him, because not as bad as him, because John McCain was like dying actively while in office. So I think that she won't retire until the very end. But I think that it won't be before the election. She'll probably stick it out until the second term, and then she'll retire and/or pass away, and then they'll replace her at that point.
So do you think that at that point we'll have a better chance of defending the Second Amendment once we get that next pick in there? Because there's a lot of cases that went before the Supreme Court recently, you know what I mean, and they weren't really trying to hear them right now. And that says a lot, but it doesn't say much at the same time. Maybe they're just kicking the can down the road like the Virginia situation. But what do you feel about that? Do you think there's any hope of maybe defending that, or are we losing every time?
I think you gotta, how can I say? I think what has to happen is you need more conservatives on the court. And I think if you get hurt, that's really the bottom line, because a lot of these things are coming down to, almost like split decision, almost, obviously, because you got 9 justices. It'd be like 5-4. Now, if you get another justice, then at that point it'll swing it. So that's what has to happen.
It's the biggest fear for the liberal Democrats right now, that they're afraid that once the majority becomes conservative, that they'll come after their sacred, abortion rights. You know what I mean? Which I was pro-life for a while, but now, or you know what I mean? Like, I am pro-life now, but before I was pro-choice. But after looking at it and just even like hearing what the homie Kanye West had to say about how ironic that all these Planned Parenthoods are in, targeted neighborhoods, we'll just call them, you know what I'm saying, just to not be offensive. But it tells a story when you open your eyes to it, you know what I mean? So I think that we could see another Kavanaugh situation where they just come with these crazy lies and accusations, which I think he'll probably bring in a female just because, I don't know, man, just seems like that's what he would do. But he would probably bring in the best person for the job, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be an interesting time, man. I just, thanks for the call, man. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing your thing. America appreciates you.
And thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Not a problem, brother. Talk to you later.
All right. Shout out to the caller. You guys are fantastic. Excellent. The best audience on the internet. All righty. Let me get to, let me see. 724, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Antoinette. How you doing, ABL?
Everything's good. Can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's such a pleasure to hear from you. And I just wanted you to touch on, this black, like you said, in the hood. What about the final call and the dude selling the bean pies, and the lady was saying they got ignored? Well, I'm going to say they didn't. Where they were effective, they got people to believe that they vote don't count. So I'm over here in Pennsylvania right now. I'm 47. In true situation, people, they believe that they vote don't count. So people aren't going out to vote. And that's what that fake movement, my granny had her bakery on 43rd and Crenshaw, Lamar Park. Them dudes, paper, in my 20s, same thing you went through. It's separatist. And what kills me is, what's up with these high yellow, the light skins ones? You mad for what? Why are you angry? It makes absolutely no sense. No true situation. Do you know you got Louis Farrakhan, high yellow, probably got some white in here somewhere. Why are you mad at the white man for? Who you really mad at is the black people, because the light-skinned ones got made fun of when we was in school. They got made fun of, picked on, and all. So here. But see, that's what black people ain't talking about. They're not talking about the real issues. And when you don't express yourself, I'm going to say I hold my own people responsible for the demasculization of the black man, because in my opinion they crying over stuff that it really ain't nothing. It's like, what's up with that?
Man, you got a good point. I think a lot of them are just trying to prove their blackness. They're trying to be like, well, I'm really black, and that, like I said, they go back to the whole school thing. They're getting picked on and teased not being black enough. Now they get to be grown. They want to prove that they're really black, and what they're really doing is just hurting people to make themselves feel better.
Exactly. And I just want to say thank you. I due to the algorithms or whatever, I found you, and it's just really a blessing to hear a black man. And I'm here to tell you, I'm a retired nurse. Understand this. You don't know nothing about Filipino food. What you know about pancit and chicken adobo, because there was a shortage of nurses in Cali. So a bunch of Filipino ladies, I work with them, and there's some beautiful ladies. They're beautiful. I met some really beautiful ladies, and the food is excellent, because I come up out of a soul food background. So when they hook me up, the lunch break time, they're excellent cooks, at least what I had. And Thai food as well. You got to get on the Thai food situation, too.
Oh, yeah, that Thai food, I love it. That pad Thai, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing about how I grew up. It was really diverse. I come here to the East Coast, and it's really sad. Like, they took me back to, like, post-civil rights stuff that I had only seen on TV. So I don't know nothing about it. The conflicts that I had with my coworkers and stuff, it's just like human situation. I don't believe it had anything to do with color. It's like, okay, you got attitude. Okay, we disagree on this. Because the hot topic then was, you at work, this is America, speak English.
That's right. Exactly. That should be the way it is. I mean, come on. We like, let's have everybody communicate and be on the same page.
Right. And so now, understand this, the stuff Nick Cannon talking, that's not going to fly in Africa or whatever he's talking about. And it's sad when you bite the hand that feeds you. That's what I see. That's what I see. You biting it because in other places, other continents, and these third world situations, you couldn't rock that type of attitude. You could, but, you know, it's not going to last long. So, and it's sad because it's causing division. And then the young people, that's why I feel like the man who called in that to put the movie up, I'm going to get you, sucker. We should laugh about that. And my thing is, part of maturity is learning to laugh at yourself. That's part of being mature. And it's sad. It's sad, but, you know, we gonna keep it great. In my opinion, America has always been great, and it's called forgiveness. How you gonna get mad? I told people they need to look at themselves, take that microscope and turn it to yourself and look at your own family dynamic, because that's really what people are upset about. It's their own family. How you gonna be upset with a man or a woman you ain't never met, and also here, and you got all these emotional attachment to it? Like, people literally hate the fact that I support Trump. I have had conversations and they get mad. And I've never experienced nothing like this in my life. They actually get mad. And it's low key to where you kind of, you know, I got my no BS. He said no more BS, and it's on my flag. And, you know, I'm like, the president is just, it's on and cracking. You feel me? So I just want to say thank you. I know I'm taking too long. I'm so happy I got through. I didn't necessarily have questions. Wait, no, here's a question, because I seen one of your subscribers, they typed it in. He said, what's up with Tucker Carlson and his writer being, do you know about that? I haven't heard nothing about that. They said his writer or somebody been exposed. I was like, what is that about? Did you see that?
Yeah,
Somebody,
I saw it. Yeah, basically, long story short, what happened was one of his, like, the head writer was saying some things on the internet that were seen as racist. I don't even know exactly what he said, because I didn't see that part, but they were saying he said some things on the internet that were racist. So the guy had stepped down.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, you know, keep up the good work, and thank you, because you inspired me. I heard each other guy, don't wait. You know, you said you wanted to wait like a year. I'm apprehensive, but I heard you say if you feel like you want to start your platform, do it. So you just stay inspiring folks, and, you know, keep up the good work.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, one.
Shout out to the caller. I got some great calls. I got the best calls on the whole. Like, I don't care what show you watch. The best callers are right here on this show on ABL Live. So thank y'all for making the show. I couldn't do it without you. Not at all. All right, let's get to the next call. All right, caller, who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? You speaking to? My name is Valentine from the Valentine Show. How you doing, brother?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
That's good, man. I have to congratulate you, man. I'm here looking at your comments. The comments, you have great, when I'm talking about great people that follow you, man. I'm just laughing here at the comments, to be honest, man. They're great. But to the issue at hand, there was actually Candace Owens on her last interview with Kingface. She started her whole interview saying that she felt pessimistic about the black struggle and the black pride and the prognosis for the black community in America in general, right? There's so much negativity, right? And some people speak about this civil war. Let the civil war start right off the back. If there's a civil war, left and right, the right has the gun, so forget it'll be a slaughter. But the real civil war that I actually see right now going on is in America, in between Black Americans on the ideological war front, right? I don't know if you were on the Instagram post from Snoop Dogg, the Coon Bunch. Were you on there?
I was not on that, and I was mad that I was not on it.
All right, so we see that, right? We see that in America. We see Joe Biden telling Black Americans literally that if you are not voting Democrat, you're literally not Black. Like, if I was, I'm Dominican, right? But if I was 100% Black, I'll vote against that just because he said that, right?
Right.
But you have Joe Biden saying that, and then you have people like Snoop Dogg and a whole bunch of Black African Americans going against dissenting voices, I mean, like you yourself, like Angela Stanton King, like the Hodge twins and all these other people. right away you're like calling them, yo, no, you cannot dissent. You have to stay on here. You have to stay on the plantation. You have to stay on the Democratic plantation. You have to vote Democrat. You have to vote Democrat. But I see that you guys are fighting back, man. And you're there. Hey, listen, you're like a general in this war. I don't know if you knew that, but you're there. What do you think is the prognosis for Black Americans? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if Black African Americans are gonna go up in America, it's gonna have to come leaders within the community. What is the prognosis? Maybe not necessarily for the 2020 election, maybe for the 2024. Where do you see Black African American going? Do you see the major shift coming from Black African Americans to the Republican Party or to any party that's not the Democratic Party? What do you see?
I'm seeing the shift happening right now. I mean, I get all kind of emails every single day. A lot of Black folks, they're talking to me, talking about, hey, I thought Democrat was the only way to be, but I'm watching you and everybody else, and they've exposed me to something else. Now I think differently. My mind has been open, so I'm seeing more and more of that. Now, I don't know as far as like a number, how to quantify it. I think that you could see upwards of 20% of the Black vote go for the Republican Party. That could happen. And people kind of get pessimistic because it's hard to be optimistic when you see all the Black Lives Matter protests and whatnot all the time everywhere. It's easy to get kind of demoralized when you see that. But there was a point in time where we had much more voter parity in the Black community. We can get back to that. If it happened before, it can happen again. What is old will become new. So I think we're going to go back to that particular point in time. And I felt like it's going to take some intervention from the government, not to give us anything else, but to take away certain things. This whole welfare state, that's kind of what is propping all of this up. Okay, the welfare state, it discourages families, it emboldens and enables single parenthood. So once you get rid of that, slowly but surely, it'll be no other choice but to come over to the right and become more self-sufficient rather than relying upon the government so much. Go back to a time before we had all this help and intervention. We were doing much better as a people. So I think people are starting to wake up mentally a lot more, but you see a more dramatic shift once you get the government out of our everyday lives.
100%. I know Killer Mike from Atlanta. He was one time on the Breakfast Club, and he actually said that, believe it or not, that Black Africans Americans were actually, there were more business owners under segregation. Why? Because, for example, places like Harlem in New York City had to have banks that were Black owned, had to have lawyer officers that were Black owned, had to have everything that was Black owned because the laws forced them to have everything their own. Now you take away like segregation, and there's not a lot of. You go to Harlem right now, a lot of the stores are owned by there's a lot of white people moving in, a lot of gentrification, a lot of Arabs, a lot of Dominicans owning stores. It's a lot of that, right, going on down there. And I was just wondering, like, what is it gonna take? And you just mentioned it, right? That taking away the whole welfare state is gonna help a lot because it's gonna force a lot of more families to be together. I don't know if you remember. Well, it's been on Twitter, it's everywhere. Have you seen the video of they're like attacking this woman with a child, like 3 or 4 teenagers, and one of the teenagers drop kicks the baby. Did you see that?
Wow, no, I didn't see that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's all over Twitter, right? And the mother, right? So they're beating down on this woman who's pregnant on top of that, and she has her baby with her. The baby's like 3 years old, right? So this and they're Black. I mean, and the one of the guys that's attacking this the woman that's pregnant, he jumps over like to hit, I guess, the one that they're beating down on the floor already, and he drop kicks the baby, man, like 3 years old, right? So the mother comes out and says, "Oh no, my son is he's not that type of person. He doesn't do this. He didn't meant to drop kick the baby." Meaning the mother comes out, right? Because I'm guessing, obviously, he doesn't have a father. The father's not the one saying something like that. And it's like, she's not condemning the actions of the whole actions of him even being there to attack this lady, right? In general, right? So it's like the single parent dichotomy that we have here, and sadly in the Black community and in the brown communities also, is affecting them in such a negative way that, listen, parents and kids, especially boys, man, they need their fathers at home. I was a horrible boy when I was growing up, and if you take my father away, man, who knows where I would have been. That would maybe locked up or whatever, man. It's crazy. But ABL, thank you so much for the time, man, and thank you for allowing me to speak to you, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Take care, man.
All right, shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. I wanted to put him on the screen, but the OBS is not cooperating. But he had some Goya adobo in the background right behind him. So shout out to Goya. You know, the protest did not work out very well. The protest kind of backfired, and now I think Goya is experiencing some record profits. So shout out to them. Let's get to the next call. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. All right, caller on the line. I'm speaking to 817.
Oh, this is Zorro. How are you today, ABL?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was curious how you feel about that term African American.
I mean, it's kind of dumb. Like, okay, I'm gonna explain how it came about in case people don't know in the chat. Jesse Jackson kind of like declared that we shall be known as African American in the 1980s. Before that, it was just either black or Negro or colored or whatever. I prefer black because I'm not African. I'm American. Never been to Africa. I'm an American. This is where I'm born. That's all my family's born. Going all the way back to my great. So we got hundreds of years in this country. I'm an American. That's it. So that whole term is just kind of silly. And really, it probably would be more suited for Elon Musk or Charlize Theron because they're from South Africa, you know. But I think once you come here and you become a citizen, you're an American, period. All the dash stuff doesn't make any sense to me.
That's a good point. I was really put off by it when I first heard it. It just made me want to puke. When I was a little kid, my two favorite players in the NFL were Lynn Swann and Drew Pearson. They were both clutch receivers. They wore number 88. They were fun to watch. I love those guys. In fact, I had a little Cowboys at number 88 jersey. I was, a little white boy in school, but I had the 88 jersey. And now you're telling me Lynn Swann and Drew Pearson are not Americans, they're African Americans. I don't know, it just didn't feel good to me.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan. To me, it's just kind of like, it's like a lot of people, they see that as a politically correct term. Like among black folks, we see it as more of a politically correct term. Like most people just say black and that's it. And if you're talking about nationality, then American, that's what we are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to describe me as being white, that's fine. If you're describing to the police, a white guy went that way or something. Well, why not just say black? White Americans, black Americans. What's the big deal?
Yeah, that should be what it is.
Now, I worked with a colleague who truly was an African American. He was born in Africa and he immigrated to America. In that case, like you said, you could say he's American now, but if you're ever going to use the term, that's the only time it's ever appropriate.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny part is when I've asked Africans just in general, I meet them for the first time, I say, hey, where are you from? In my mind, I'm wanting them to say where they're from in Africa, but they'll say where they live right now in America. They'll say, I'm American, I'm from X, Y, and Z place in America, because that's what they identify with first is America. That's where they are now. They didn't leave their country of origin to come here and still identify with the country of origin first and foremost. They're American now.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, that was about the only thing weighing on my mind. Was just curious about how you felt about that term. I remember first hearing about it in the 80s, and it's always rubbed me the wrong way. I've never liked, I don't know, it felt kind of like pandering, and it felt just kind of creepy.
Yeah, that's probably the best word for it, kind of creepy.
Yeah. All right, well, you have a good evening, and I look forward to listening to more great callers.
Oh, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey, man, what's going on, man? I just want to piggyback off of what the caller before was telling you about that fight with the black girls and the little black boy, and how that black boy, I think he had to been a 12, 13-year-old, how he jump kicked the 3-year-old black girl. You know what I'm saying? And the problem I have with this whole thing is, there's not going to be no Black Lives Matter protesting or try to dox any of the people involved in beating that black girl up in front of her son in front of a 3-year-old daughter and drop kicking her daughter. And I swear to God, man, had any of those attackers been white, this would have been on the news everywhere.
Yes.
And then Black Lives Matter doxing, that white couple would have been doxxed. What their parents would have been doxxed and would have lost their jobs. And this is why nobody takes Black Lives Matter seriously. I just see it's as a political front. Like, the thing I'd say, if black folks like that want people to care about them, we got to care about each other ourselves first. Like, get on 30s. I'm sorry. I'm driving right now. We gotta care about each other first, man. Like, an action like that, hitting a kid, like, there should be a community looking for that little boy and those girls and prosecuting them. You know what I'm saying? But it's just gonna be quietness. Nothing is gonna happen. You're not gonna hear no statements from no Democrats, nothing. And this is the problem with the black community. Like, I'm never gonna, a lot of black folks want to ignore the black on black crime issue because it's an accountability issue. And they don't want to be accountable, so they want to ignore it or deflect. Well, white people kill each other too. And I hate that white people kill each other too. I'm like, okay, so if white people decide to all jump off a bridge, you're gonna do it too? Like, seriously, like, stop following white people. Like, if someone does something wrong, that doesn't mean you have to copy them. Be better. Don't give me this white people do it too, so now that's okay that I beat up all women because white people do it too. Like, that's the argument that they're making. But yeah, and then with the whole white people do it too, I think me and you discussed it before, if you're 13% of the population committing 50% of the murders or the violent crime, that is a crime problem. You should not be committing 50%, maybe like 2 or 3% or a small percentage of that nature. And the other thing I want to talk to you about real quick is that whole Nick Cannon thing. I'm glad he got fired, because the problem, these black liberals got to learn some respect. You on a white-owned platform. A white man gave you an opportunity. Said a white man allowed you to go on Wildin' Out and host your little show. And what you do in return is you talk crap about white people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if had that been a white man, like, and I always twist around, had that been a white man who said, if you have more melanin in your skin, you are more prone to commit crime. You know what I'm saying? That's a racist statement. That is a racist statement. But it's interesting how black folks want to talk about white supremacy. And Nick Cannon, he could say anything he wants about white people. Nothing would happen. So I don't see no white supremacy. Nothing. Nick Cannon could talk crap about, say white people are the scum of the earth. Nothing will happen to Nick Cannon. So yeah, I'm glad he got fired because he's gonna need to learn his lesson. You want to talk crap, create your own. But if you talk about there's some grand conspiracy of white supremacy, while you're on their network, you're being ungrateful. Seriously, like, black folks gotta elevate beyond this white supremacy. Like, I don't believe in white supremacy, but let's say hypothetically there is white supremacy. I would say it's probably white supremacy talking about white supremacy because you don't elevate as a community going forward. You stay stuck focusing on white people. You just sit around and you wait for white people to do something and you pack and you repeat the same process for years and you stay stuck. So if hypothetically there is a white supremacy, I would say focusing on that as African Americans is holding you back. You know what I'm saying? And the media allowing you to do that is holding you back from going forward. And that's pretty much all I want to say, bro.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man.
Peace. Great call from my man Tariq. Always dropping them truth bombs. always. Nico, what's happening? All right, you there, boss? Are you well?
Can you hear me now?
All right, yeah, you good money. So what's going on?
It's just getting better. Just been busy, up and down, but but there's just been a few thoughts, Anthony. I know it's probably talking about this COVID stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that's really been on my mind, and I'll be frankly honest, I was one of those people infected. I was one of the people affected by COVID, like millions else. Not having the disease itself, but I was through a really, really bad depression, ever since this COVID hit.
Well, because you're not able to move around and go where you want to go, kind of like isolated.
Yeah, and what even gets more insidious is that even when this is all over, even when this seems to be all over, even when your depression is, even when the cause of your depression is over, you're still in that state, you're still in that mindset, and it's very hard to get going, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. I do understand. And this is why I'm like advocating people to open back up, because, you know, they want to talk about health of people, trying to keep everything closed, but people are still suffering in other ways. You having other problems that result from the actual shutdown, and it's hard people to get back on that. You can't just say, okay, we're going to shut everything down, go through your depression, and then snap back to normal. You still got to have time to acclimate yourself back to society, right?
Yeah, and you know what? These suicide hotlines are blowing up at this time. And you know what else is even more crazier? I mean, as time progresses, I mean, at the beginning when this country when the whole society shut down, it did seem really scary to a lot of us folks. But the more time progresses, it gets to a point where you don't really take it seriously anymore, considering that how confusing, how inconsistent, how it's changed on a whim, how it's draconian, how counterintuitive it is, especially this 6 feet social distancing. How is that supposed to work? If COVID is an airborne disease, don't most airborne diseases spread about 30 to 40 feet on average? So how does 6 feet apart, how is that supposed to work? Answer me.
It's not. And then they say that it also can spread through like AC stuff. And so it's like you really not doing anything by the whole 6 feet thing. And then they'll totally just ignore all the 6 feet and all the mask requirements when they have the protests. You can have 25,000 people pretty much elbow to elbow out there having a so-called protest, and that's fine. Nobody says anything about that. But if you want to go to the grocery store, you got to put your mask on, be 6 feet apart, and you might not even be able to go because it's probably shut down.
Speaking of protests, you know how those doctors and nurses on social media saying if you go to the beach, if you go outdoors, you're being disrespectful to us who are quote unquote being on the front lines. And yet when this Black Lives Matter protests happen, the same doctors who are criticizing you and I, who are supposedly just trying to just get outdoors and that sort of stuff, just trying to keep our peace and that sort of stuff. The same doctors who lecture you and I, they're the ones who signed this petition. They are the ones who signed this petition to try to excuse the government who control these shutdowns, and yet they're trying to say excuse these Black Lives Matter protests from the COVID policies. Those are the same doctors, okay?
Exactly, and it's ridiculous. It's crazy. If you're going to have a particular policy, let it be the same for everybody, not just certain groups that you want to excuse because you appreciate their behavior. Let it be the same from everybody.
Well, that's good news coming from you, because if you're one of those doctors that signed those petitions to excuse Black Lives Matter, at least I could take the time to look you up, and it shows that I could avoid from going to your office, because I could show how counterintuitive your judgment is, and therefore you could be at risk of being wrongfully diagnosed, and therefore I could get killed, okay?
That's a very good point. Good point you made there, because if you're going to say something like that about that, it's obvious to everybody. What are you going to do with me? Why should I put my life in your hands? That's a very good point you made.
And it's the same thing with the people who are wearing masks, you know? And even when they mandate these masks in the car sites, especially here, since I live in California, right? And I remember seeing that video, which is kind of funny that you mentioned Martinez, because it's funny because the town where I was growing up, I actually lived 10 feet from Martinez. And I'm surprised that you even gave that town a shout out, Anthony. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
And, you know, but anyway, I just want to say with these mask mandates and that kind of stuff, and you see people like Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi, and you always see these videos, these stupid videos of people, and they're saying, oh, this is how you wear a mask properly. You put the bridge over your mouth and nose and that sort of stuff. And then you see people like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Bill de Blasio, and etc. And they're having these masks that are hanging low. They're not wearing their masks on properly, and they're lecturing us about that.
Right, exactly. You see that all the time. People taking the mask off and fiddling with it and picking their nose through the mask. It's like, come on, man, this is really kind of crazy.
And also, isn't it dangerous to wear a mask for extended periods? Because isn't it also dangerous to breathe in your own carbon dioxide?
Yes, it is. Very dangerous. People are passing out. One person passed out, crashed their car, almost died because they're breathing in CO2. It's just like being in your car in the garage. So it's not a safe thing to do for an extended period of time.
Oh, and they say the same thing about they always say this because vitamin D plays a vital role in your immune system, right? And you can get it from milk, you can get it from fish, but there's very few foods that offer vitamin D. And you know where's the greatest source of vitamin D you get it from? The sun.
That's right.
And you know why flu season does not happen in the summertime and happens more often in the winter. And guess what? It's not the cold weather itself that spreads the flu and viruses around. It's people being confined, trying to get away from the cold weather, and are isolated, and are confined in these confined stations, and they're easily able to transmit disease much more quickly.
That's right. 100% correct. You're right on point, man. But hey, I got a lot of calls on the line, so I'm glad you're able to call in, man. And hey, you hang in there. Don't let nothing get you down. We're going to get past all this stuff, man, ASAP.
Hey, thanks for putting up with. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bye.
All right, shout out to my man Nico for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. 714, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
I got a lot of calls on the line, so I'm glad.
714, who am I speaking to? Yeah.
ABL.
Yes. Who am I speaking to?
ABL. This is Christy again from Palmy, California, your favorite retired law enforcement officer. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. About yourself?
Good. I'm doing good. Hey, just a few things that I wanted to talk about. And I kind of wanted to give you some numbers here of the total line of duty deaths for the year up to current. And this is for officers that have been killed in the line of duty, because that's near and dear to my heart and all the stuff that's been going on. 124. Now, that's all broken down. A lot of it is from COVID. A lot of it's from gunfire. But believe it or not, a lot of it has been during the course of all of these riots, burning, looting, whatever you want to call it. That's what I call it. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to put that out there for the callers to back the blue and to give people, the idea of what's going on out there. I mean, they want to defund. They talk about defunding and abolishing. And when you start going that route, this is what happens. You have a lot of officers killed in the line of duty or injured or assaulted. And then what ends up happening is you've got people retiring. You had LAPD the weekend of 4th of July, 300 officers calling in sick, So these are some of the things that I kind of wanted to go over real quick with your audience. And it's got to do with the self-defense. And people need to start looking at the self-defense laws in their states. I mean, really start looking at the self-defense laws in their state, because I'm telling you, we don't know what's going to happen. And there's so many things. If there's people that are out there that have been thinking about buying a firearm, go out and take a safety class, take a safety course, purchase a firearm. It's either for home defense or if you get a CCW permit. But look at your self-defense laws in your states, in your individual states, because of what's been going on in some of these states where you have that St. Louis couple, right, defending their property, and they end up having a warrant that was issued, going in there and taking their firearms. They were out there standing their ground, or it could even be under the castle doctrine. You kind of have to look at all of these things. I'm just trying to throw that out there for your callers, and educating themselves, what the 5 elements of self-defense is, and looking at even CCW insurance. Believe it or not, these are just some of the things that if you're going to carry a firearm and be proficient with it, that you should know what your self-defense laws are in your state, because every state is different.
Right.
And having all of this stuff to assist you in case something like this goes down, where you've got these radical DAs, you've got the pressure from these activist groups, et cetera, you know. So, you know, I think that Trump kind of said it the best in one of his statements that he had made, and I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but I think it was something to the extent of, and he was correct. He said, "They aren't coming after me, they're coming after you. I'm just in the way." So I wanted to put that out there for the callers, and go out there. If you're going to get a firearm, or if you want to be able to learn how to shoot, go take a class, find out what your self-defense laws are in your state, check out CCW insurance, and just be safe. And that's pretty much it for me. And I appreciate you on your platform. I listen to you, Brandon Tatum, Jericho Green, Candace Owens, Larry Elder. I can keep going on. I listen to all of you guys. Even Will. I believe he's a United American
Will Johnson,
First.
yeah.
Will Johnson, good guy. And you guys have done just the best job of getting that out there and putting it out to your subscribers and your audience. But that's just where I'm coming from, because of the fact that I live in a commie state. I hate to say it, commie California. And of course, you know, we have a radical left governor. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. You have a great night, ABL. Keep putting it out there. And every time I get a video, I just keep sharing it.
Well, thank you for the call.
All
Definitely
right.
appreciate you.
Okay, you take care, ABL, and you be safe and stay vigilant, and same thing with all your callers.
All right, thank you.
And all your audience.
All right, shout out to the caller. Great call. All right, let's get to the next call here. All right, caller on the line. Who am I speaking to? Caller on Skype. Can you hear me? Hello, caller on Skype.
Hey, ABL. It's your boy from Georgia. I'm just wanting to talk about a few things. I'm 20 years old. I'm white. And I kind of want to talk about, you know, it's hard when a lot of people your age think the same way, right? And going back to a college campus, I'm kind of like, I'm intimidated. I'm not scared, I'm intimidated, you know? And I want to know, like, how do we make individuality and individual thinking cool again? You know, like, because I feel like people are like, oh, we just want to be part of like the cool kids, you know? But there's a really good metal band called Havoc, and they're very conservative, and they hit every single point that's been going on in the past.
Okay, I think you can make it cool by just having more people be openly who they are, because you know, you go to a college campus and it seems like everybody is liberal, but I feel like those are just ones that are vocal. Because I got a question for you, just see if you can kind of see where I'm coming from. Is everybody on college campus openly political?
There's a very good population. So, because like, I'm part of the college Republicans on my campus, but
Okay.
I can still see, you know, oh, look, there's a movement moving by, you know, like a big ass line of people. I mean, sorry, excuse me.
But no, like I'm saying, like when you're in class, like can you like, and when you just scan your classroom, does every person in the class have an open political identification? Like everybody, or is it just like a lot of people? I'm talking because a lot of people could be a small amount, really, because let's say you were on the campus, right? And you got 20,000 students. I'm just throwing a number out there. Now out of that 20,000, it could be 1,000 that are all political, all to the left. And you see 1,000 people at once. It's a lot of people, but you still got 19,000 more that are not political. You see what I'm saying? So out of a class, like let's say you have a class of 100, how many of them are going to be openly political?
Yeah.
Man, I'm asking you that question, like to guess just from your point of view.
So, there's, it's a college campus. There's a lot of students and there's a lot of like trends with people on the left that you can kind of like tell. Like, it's stereotyping, I know, but it's kind of easy to stereotype these people when you're on a college campus with free expression. Like if you see a guy walking down with the big shirt, and I'll see the big shirt of, BLM or whatever, maybe like 5, 6 people maybe like out of 10 when I'm walking down. So, and I'm in the South, so
right.
I'm appalled. But I want to portray that people need to identify their own ignorance more, and I want to find a way to do that. I want to start a metal band or something, or stream. But yeah, anyway, man, we can do that. We need to. And y'all chat out there, love you, chat. Keep spreading it, man. Just keep on going. Find a way.
No doubt, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, man, always.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. But yeah, the point I was getting at, I'm not sure if you really got it, was, you may have a lot of people that appear to be liberal on your college campus, but they always got the loudest voices. They're always the ones that say, look at me, woo, woo, that type of thing. But once you really get down to it, how many are actually political at all? How many are political at all, and how many are openly political if they are political out of all the kids on campus? You may find out that you are actually the majority on campus rather than the minority, but you're the vocal majority. You're the silent majority. They're the vocal minority. Put it to you like that. It depends on where you are, what kind of campus you're on. And a lot of these college campuses are kind of like indoctrination places. They come from other places. So it really depends on where you're going, what you're going for, and what you have your eyes open to. But me personally, I never really got involved in college. Like, I never got involved with college life. I went to college, but I was working and I was grinding. I wasn't involved. I didn't stay on campus ever. I was always kind of like in the street still. But let me get back to the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. All righty. All right, caller, who am I speaking to on Skype?
But you have your eyes open too.
Caller, can you hear me? All right, okay. I'm sorry I hung up kind of fast on them. But to anybody that's listening to me right now and trying to call in, have your ear by the phone or be prepared to answer the phone, because there's a delay. You are not going to be able to talk to me, watching me, and talk to me at the same time. Like, it's not going to be like FaceTime or something like that. That's not how it works. So there will be a delay. Please be ready to answer the phone when I pick up the call. All righty, let's get to the next call. And we're going to go 251. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Shalonda. I'm calling from Mobile, Alabama. And I just wanted to point out, I was born in the South where, when doing the Confederate flag was a common thing. And I grew up with a dad who was born in 1916. He had me when he was 56. Growing up with him, he never made any excuses about race, which he was a biracial man. And he never let us make any excuses about race. And just thinking about how everyone is so hurt about slavery and so mad about white supremacy, he was never as mad as everybody else is, and he grew up in all of the elements that would have allowed you to be upset. So to me, it's like a lot of fake wokeness that's going on. Nick Cannon needs to get somewhere and sit down.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But people, like I was saying before, they just they see things from their point of view and they don't understand the people they're talking about. They understand the things that they want to put out there as the truth, but it's not the truth. It's just not reality at all.
No, and growing up, we never, if something was going on that we tried to make an excuse, the teacher's mad at me, the teacher don't like me, he never let that be an excuse. We had to say, what we did wrong or how we were, what made us fall short, not looking at somebody else. And this whole thing of having another person, air quotes, the white man, to allow us to get ahead, it gets under my skin, because it's saying that we are such less of people that we have to have somebody else to allow us to get ahead. And I grew up with a dad, like I said, he was born in 1916 with a third grade education, who took care of every one of his children in a house with me, my mom, and my dad, and my siblings. And if he could provide a living for us on a third grade education, a good living where we didn't even know we were poor, I don't think that we are really suffering from white supremacy like everybody else is trying to make us out to be. And
Exactly.
that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate you. I listen to you just about every day, and just please keep up the good work.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks. Bye.
Great call. Excellent call. Is what I'm trying to tell people is like they don't talk to us, the people. They live in the ivory tower and they operate in theories and books and stuff like that, but they don't talk to the actual people and see what is really going on. And if they did, they would not do a lot of the things that they do. That's just really what's happening. All right, let me get back to the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. 403 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Master Anthony.
What's going on, caller? What's happening? Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Jay from the Sea of Red.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Guys, I kind of missed a bunch of calls because I'm trying to get through, but I just had a thought on Sunday there. Oh, by the way, I want to say you really do have the best audience, the best callers, the best commenters. It's so diverse. I'm Native. Not that it matters. I don't care about race. But anyway, I had a thought on Sunday there. I have an elevator guy, and they have to stay in this elevator to operate it, and they're wearing a mask all day, right? Because they have to. So, and then I thought, what was the biggest threat to the planet and to humans before the COVID?
CO2, right?
Exactly. And they're basically breathing that in all day, all the time, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it must be in way higher concentrations than before COVID.
It's got to be because it's like it's right there in their face. They can't even escape it.
No, that's what I mean. And before COVID, it was such a big threat, and now I don't know if they want us all to do this all the time, but it just crossed my mind as kind of an odd play, if it is a play. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And great show, man. You're the best. Thanks, ABL, for your service. And please don't let YouTube take you off or nothing, because we need you and folks like you. And if I missed any, it'd be nice to hear from some of the Filipino cousins out there on your show.
No doubt, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks, ABL. God bless you.
God bless you. All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, the whole thing with the CO2 is like, okay, you got your mask on all day. And the thing about it is people talk about Japan and Korea, or not Korea, pardon me. What else? Taiwan. They have different types of masks. We're over here wearing bandanas and panty drawers and stuff like that over our face. Like, I had to go to Walmart recently, and they know Walmart has a new mask rule, which anybody really enforcing. I can be in there with no mask on, mask, whatever. Anybody really tripping. But anyway, I had the mask, like I had like a bandana, right? And I got my whole nose out. So it's like this here, because I can't breathe. You see my nose, I don't have a small nose. So, and I got a short tank. You know, I can run quick, but I got a short tank. Anyway, I cannot breathe with the mask over my face. So you got to put the mask on your face, having trouble breathing, and then you got to breathe in CO2 at the same time. And you got to do that all day long. People wearing painters masks and bandanas and just regular cloth, not wearing a proper mask at all, just to go through your life. And then I tried one on them little ear loop thingamabobbers, and the ear loop was too small. I got a big head, so it didn't even fit. My ears are just going like this. They're kind of like going like Dumbo, and it just wasn't really working out too well. So this whole thing with the mask, I'm pretty much over it. I'm done with it. And the virus ain't even really that bad, honestly. That's just you know, it might have been bad, I guess, to begin with, but right now, today, it's not even really that bad. So what are we even really doing? I'm not sure, but let's get back to the calls. The number to call 434-658-1220. All right, call in on the line. Who am speaking to? 617.
Hey, what's going on, man? You pumping on those videos and those numbers, man.
Hey, man, don't hate. Don't hate.
I'm no hater. I'm just saying. Hey, so I was expecting for you to put a video of the interview with the Stephanopoulos and the president's niece, man. You didn't put it out there.
I've not seen that. What happened in it?
Well, I mean, you should put it out there. That's for you to put it out there.
Why should I put it up? I've not even seen it.
Well,
So
I mean, just watch it. You watch it, and if it's
well, tell me why I should put it up. Like, what did you think about it?
Well, talk about Trump's life from when he was when he went to college, when he started his business. It's giving you outside what Trump's really is all about. So
okay, so
put it out there.
What's the story about? Like, give me a highlight from the actual.
Well, he's talking about Trump's life when he went to college, how he behaved in business, how he was dealing with the bankruptcies, everything was talking about him.
Okay, I understand that point, but give me a highlight that makes it interesting.
I just told you.
No, do you know what highlight, sir? Sir, do you know what highlight means?
Yeah, I just told you.
No, you gave me a synopsis of what's going on, like the plot of the movie. Give me a highlight. Like, I didn't tell me about how the whole Titanic happened and from beginning to end, the love story between Leo DiCaprio and the love interest. I didn't tell you to tell me all that. I asked you to tell me about a particular highlight, one part of the interview that was very interesting, that would keep me captivated and the audience captivated. Give me that.
You see you play your game. So, hey, I just wanted to talk to you. So, in 2008, you voted for Obama, that's true?
I did, yes.
Okay. So, in 2012, you voted for Mitt Romney. You say Obama wasn't doing a great job, right?
Correct.
But actually, the economy was improving, even there was we had the worst recession in the U.S. history. Actually, we have the pre-depression. You call it like that, right? So you compare it to the depression of 1929 when the stock market crashed and the depression of 1897 or 1881.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, you compare the recession of 2008. It was a depression. It was a pre-depression. It was nearly a depression that we had in 2008. And in 2012, in 4 years, we improved dramatically, right, financially. But
well, I mean, I can't tell. Like, the reason why I voted for Mitt Romney is because it didn't, like, the economy was not doing well in my area. It was bad. Like, when Obama came into office, I'm like, okay, we got hope and change. He's going to do better, but things didn't get better. A lot of my friends went bankrupt. Black folks now had brick and mortar businesses. I'm going to keep on talking. You're going to shut up. I'm going to keep on talking anyway. A lot of my friends, brick and mortar businesses, went bankrupt. People lost money. So I'm like, man, this whole hope and change thing ain't really working out too well. So at that particular point in time, I'm like, okay, you had 4 years. I'm not seeing any kind of improvements. I'm seeing things actually get worse. So I'm going to go ahead and vote for somebody else to get some actual hope and change going on. But go ahead.
Okay. So, you should watch about FDR. He was voted 3 times. Ronald Reagan was voted 2 times with unemployment of 8%. When in 2012, unemployment was at like 6.8, 7%. Ronald Reagan was voted twice with an unemployment at 8%.
So what's the point? What's the point?
Election. So Obama improved the economy during the Obama was.
Well, it don't really matter. At the end of the day, for us, and my community, people that I knew, my friends, my family, were not doing very well. And I'm voting for my best interest and the interest of my friends and my family. So, what you're talking about is totally irrelevant. But go ahead.
Then I understand. I just put you to stack the numbers.
It don't even really matter. But you can move on to the next thing.
So, hey, last point before I go. So, Angela, Angela, I think the one that was pardoned by President Trump?
Yes.
She was okay. So, I think you, Brandon Taylor, and Candice always been saying that Obama abandoned black people because they didn't want to, Trump is the one that got the First Step Act done, right?
No, I didn't say anything about abandon.
Well, I mean, that pretty much didn't help those people that were in prison. That's what you said.
Nah. I mean, I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this. Like, okay, Barack Obama had I think the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010, and what it didn't do was act retroactively. What Trump did with the First Step Act is have it act retroactively. So if you were in jail from the crack era and stuff like that, where Joe Biden put the laws in the books that you got to do basically football numbers for these particular crimes and whatnot, the 1994 crime bill, if you were in jail from that particular era, you were able to petition to get your sentence reduced retroactively. Barack Obama did not do that. So that's all. And he could have done that under his presidency, but he failed to do so. But go ahead.
Question one, and I'm out. Why, when Obama decided, Obama was the first president that visited prison. You know that, right? The only president that visited prison and spoke to the prisoners about Obama.
What's the question?
50 years, was the first president who visited prison.
What's the question, sir? Get to it.
And then why the Republicans? You say black people should leave the plantation, right? You join the Republicans, join Steve King, join.
Get to the question, sir. You don't have all day.
Okay, so why they did not supported the prison reform and criminal justice reform when Obama wanted to pass it? Why they didn't support it? Police reform? Why they didn't support it? School reform? Why they didn't support it? The same thing that Trump did, the rehabilitation in our communities. You know that bill that he said? Obama did that, but the Republicans did not support that at all.
Okay, so the question is, I'm asking you a question. Now, the question is, why didn't they support it? I mean, was there anything else in the bill? Any kind of pork, any kind of poison pills in the bill? Maybe that'd be the reason why. If there was a bill on the table talking about, okay, we want to do X, Y, and Z, but you want to get abortion expanded up until the point of birth. I mean, come on. You can't just put whatever you want in the bill and put a nice little name on it and say, oh, they're racist because they didn't pass it. You got to have a bill that actually makes sense. So you're screaming right now, and I can't even hear you at all. I'm Stevie Wonder with my ears. I can't hear you at all. So thank you for the call. Most certainly appreciate you, boss. And we'll get to the next call. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Thank you all for being here. Most certainly appreciate you. You guys are the best audience on the internet. All righty. 203, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
It's Monster Blood.
Monster Blood, what's going on?
What's going on? Well, first thing I want to say is that not all people or girls with tattoos and piercings and dyed hair are libtards. Some people have expression of style, and that doesn't mean they're demon brats.
Oh, no, I got you. I'm with you 100%.
But what is your take on the whole Hakeem Littleton situation?
Now, I've seen some of this. I saw the video, and it was pretty cut and dry to me. Like, the guy pulled out a gun and shot it at the cop. So if he gets shot, I mean, what is the actual response supposed to happen? If you shoot at a cop, you're going to get shot. It really ain't nothing else to it. Now, the people that were, I guess, protesting, I guess, didn't really see that part. They didn't see the gun come out and the flash. So I think there shouldn't be any more protests, but you could get a crazy DA like in Atlanta, Paul Howard, talking about, oh, yeah, he shot a taser at the guy, but the leaves went above his head, so he didn't get shot. Therefore, he shouldn't have shot him. It's like, what? It'd be the same thing as saying, well, he dodged a bullet, so he shouldn't have shot. It's like, really? Come on. What are we doing?
Exactly. Like, they want to start the riots, the protesting, way before any actual evidence or other video comes out and jumps the gun, no pun intended, and he's innocent, yet the other two men in the video are not resisting arrest, and they're alive right now.
Yep. The one guy was on the ground the whole time. The one guy was on the ground chilling, just having a front row seat at his friend shooting his pistol. He was on the ground, handcuffed behind his back, chilling. So, I mean, he could have just done what his friends did and not resisted, but he wanted to resist for some reason. And, hey, stupid game, stupid prizes.
Oh, yeah. And his other friend that was getting arrested by the car, on the other video you can see, so there's another person there too not resisting arrest, and yet you shoot at the officer's head, thank God he missed, and then when the officer with the body cam shoots him, when he goes down, he's still shooting at them. Like, really? Like, this isn't the wild, wild west. We're not here for a shootout. Like, you're done. Like, you have something to say if you're shooting the police.
Right, exactly. I mean, people just, I don't know, they don't really think too clearly. This whole era of lawlessness, people thinking kind of just irrationally. So, I mean, I think at a certain point, people will get the message when, you know, they keep getting shot after they shoot at the police. You can't do that.
Well, I mean, in their world, they would have a social worker come out and hug the guy, and hopefully they won't get shot by him while they try to, you know, console him and pat his back instead of, you know, actually have an officer take it down in this situation, you know, defund the police.
Right.
Imagine how that situation would have played out if there was no police and it was counselors and
workers. They'd be dead. They'd be dead, unfortunately. I mean, and then like when he starts shooting, it's like, what are you gonna do? You a social worker. You don't have no gun on you. You out there with a clipboard. What's a clipboard gonna do when you pull out the 380 and start busting at your head?
Hopefully it'll block the bullet from shooting.
Man, that thing
brain.
that thing will become particle board instantly from just from the muzzle, just from the blast. That thing go from cardboard to particle board ASAP.
The cardboard would become part of his head.
Right, exactly.
But I had to call in and say something like that because it's so funny that everyone wants to defund the police and then gets angry when you rebuttal that and they're saying, no, it's not abolish the police. And it's like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like, what don't you get here? So those people want to have that, they can have it. If not, then suffer the consequences.
Right, exactly.
It's a wild world we live in now. I would never think I would live the day to see this.
Hey, I'm right there with you. But, hey, I thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you. Been a great call.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, now. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate her. Calling in on line 757. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, how's it going? It's Trey. We met at the Black Leadership Summit once.
I know you are. What's going on, Trey?
Hey, I just want, I know I'm pretty late on this question, but I wanted to know, like, how do you feel about the Redskins thing? Because I work at a department store. I'm not going to say the name, but they recently had us take all of the Redskins merchandise out of the store and put it in the back until further notice. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's crazy. You know, you're from Virginia. I'm from Virginia. Like, everybody pretty much Redskins or Cowboys fan, and that's pretty much what it was. It's no big deal. You see old men out there on game day with their Redskins jersey, the coat, the hat. It might even be a car with Redskins stuff on it. So I don't even really understand. Like, the people that are behind this, in my humble opinion, don't live in Virginia, don't care about Virginia or Maryland or DC or anywhere else. They don't watch football. They just want to be super woke, and they want to gain a woke victory and try to attack football. And the next thing is going to be no more football. They're going to say, oh, the Redskins name is offensive, is racist, is oppressive. Then they're going to say football is racist because black men get concussions more than white men. That's going to be the next thing. So football eventually will be totally gone, all because of some woke people that don't even like the game, they don't watch the game and don't care about the game.
Glad to hear your opinion, man. That was a good rebuttal. On point. Hope to see you again at the next Black Leadership Summit, man. I'll let you go.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, shout out to my man Trey. Yeah, hopefully I'm able to go to the next BLS. Hopefully they have it this year because all this stuff with the virus going on, you know, they're acting real funny with all the meetings and the gatherings. You know, they're talking about shutting everything back down again. And I'm watching the news today, and they're saying that there could be another shutdown happening like right now. And if that happens, then it's going to be a wrap. They already done spent $6 trillion of federal monies to go towards the virus from the last shutdown. How much more money are we going to print? Are we just going to print till, I mean, like, we're going to be like Zimbabwe. You're going to have to carry a barrel full of money to go get a loaf of bread. So it's like, what are we even doing? All right, let's get to the next call. 319 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Jacob. How's it going?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
That's good. First thing, I ordered my flag the other day. It's the 1776 black and white one that you got behind you there. It just looks so dang nice. I had to get one myself.
Well, I'm glad you did, man. Hopefully you enjoy it when you get it.
For sure. I bet I will. But on to what I wanted to talk about was I was having a debate with one of my black coworkers the other day, and we went over the black-on-black violence and stuff. And she said, now I didn't do my research and look it up, and maybe I should have. And she said that, well, white-on-white crime is the most prevalent in, like, white neighborhoods and stuff. And I'm like, I was kind of stumped then. I was like, I didn't really know what to say, and I was just kind of curious as to what you would say in that situation.
Okay, now people like that, they're not looking at the whole situation. They're not seeing the per capita numbers and the rate of crime. Now, it is true, like she's giving you half of the story. It is true that crime is committed mostly intra-racial, meaning within the race. It's like 85% black on black, 95% black on black, 85% white on white. That's pretty much true. However, you're not seeing the actual rate of it. Now, this is going to be all you need. This is what everybody uses all over the internet, and I've said it a trillion times. I've said it so much, I'm kind of getting tired of it, but I got to say it again. Black folks are about 13% of the population, but we account for 52% of all murderers in the U.S., and 48% of all the murder victims. So 48% of all murder victims, 52% of all murderers. So that points to a very high level of crime within the black community. All right. And the 48% of the murder victims, that's us killing us. Okay. And if they say, oh, how you know who it is? Well, you just said, speaking to the other person, you just said that most crime, most murder is intraracial, which means race on race. So that 48% of all murder victims, it's got to be mostly black folks killing other black folks. So what's really going on? And we kill other races at a higher rate than they kill us. Okay. And more white folks get killed by police than black folks. And you see what I'm saying? So you could just stick to the whole thing of the per capita rate within the black community. That right there would pretty much sell your argument, because that can't be argued against. If they want to say, oh, who's killing them? We don't really know. They already admitted to most murder being intraracial. So that has already been conceded.
For sure, man. I just need you on speed dial or something, man. You know it, and you call it how it is, and I really appreciate and enjoy that, man. But I'll let you get to the rest of the calls. But hey, you have a great night. Been loving the live stream. Didn't know if Ivan was gonna get on tonight, but sure enough, he did. You have a good night, ABL.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. But yeah, people talk about that whole, they're not looking at the whole situation. They want to kind of ignore this black on black crime. And really they're trying to stick to that, to just ignore the obvious. We know what's going on. We know about the black on black crime. We know how dangerous it is in the community. We know. People just try to use that to make excuses and try to avoid the conversation, because it's easier to point to low hanging fruit like police brutality and so-called white supremacy. It's easier to point to that. Things that don't really exist at all, boogeymen under your bed, rather than the elephant in the room, the 3,000-pound elephant, the trillion-pound elephant in the room. Let me get to the next call. The number to call, 434-658-1220. I got enough time for like a couple more calls. All right. 702, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Amy. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. How about yourself?
Doing really good. This is my first time calling in and really watching some of your lives, but I've been watching your videos forever.
Well,
a few years now.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks. I'm from Vegas. I guess I'm a white girl from Vegas, but here in Vegas, there's so many cultures, so many stuff. So when you say, white America, black America, I just don't even know what that's like, because every time you go to the store, you hear 3 to 5 languages. And I mean, we go to the with my kids the water park here, and all I see is all the different families from everywhere, all different languages. So that's my America. That's what I'm used to. So all this racial stuff is really foreign to me, even though I live in America. But I've felt it before. I actually got fired by by a black woman because I was white, because she didn't think I deserved the position that corporate put me in. So I've been kind of on the other side too. And people don't really talk about that, and that's okay, because, you know, even though I was a single mom, had a 2-year-old little girl I was just raising by myself, she didn't care, you know, and I couldn't run off and tell anybody, you know, oh, she did this, you know, because I'm just a white girl. But I love 23andMe, because I found out I'm actually black. I'm 0.2% Congolese. So now I have that on my little docket now. But really, why I'm calling is you know, what you speak about is so good, and this whole Nick Cannon thing reminded me of I have lots of friends, all different things, but I have friends who are Jewish, and they have this thing where they send their kids to Jerusalem once in a lifetime. Like, you can go, and they pay for you to go to Jerusalem once in a lifetime, so you can go see, you know, the promised land and all that, and you can go from any country you live in. But I think we really should start that for the black people who live here, because, you know, all these people are like, oh, I'll go to Africa, it'll be so much better. I've actually been to China, I've been to Africa. I went to Togo, which is right next to Ghana. And you saw that Ghana is, you know, offering people black people to come home, right?
Yeah.
And you've spoken about that too. Like, that when I went, I saw the slave trade. They still have them. They're still there. Like this, where the boats would pull up, and the Togolese people would sell, you know, their rival people or friends or family that they didn't like anymore. You know, they would sell them, and they're there, and they were telling me how, you know, yeah, we used to sell whoever we didn't like. And it's these people don't know. They don't realize what was really going on there. And I love that Candace. Oh no, it was another lady I watched. Dana. I forgot her last name. She's got red hair, but Dana. She did this video on how, like, she talked about slavery and how it was all over the world, which it was, and the first person who was an indentured servant, not just indentured servant, but for life, was actually a black man and woman, and they owned a black man, and that was the first one to be here in America. But Black Lives Matter doesn't want to talk about that. You know, Nick Cannon's not talking about that. Like, the first real slave here in America for life was the owner was black. You know, and it's crazy that we can't really actually look at history, because then you're racist if you say what real history is. So I think if we have the people here who live in America and want to go to Africa, they should go. They need to go. They need to see, and they need to really talk to the people there. And they would love to be in America. When I was in Togo, oh my gosh, they were just like, they wanted to come to America so bad. And I'm like, this is a beautiful country. This is, you know, great. And there were riots in the street because the president was not doing the right things. I mean, we think our president, you know, not we, but other people think our president's not doing the right thing. But this guy, I mean, he took everything for himself. Very, like, it's just ridiculous when you look into the policies of African governments and what they're really doing to their people. Like, I would never want to live there. Visiting, you know, I'm all for it as long as we have friends there. But I think that we should start something and send these people for a week or two to Africa and let them see, you know, what it really is. And maybe that might change some people's minds.
Hey, you're right about that. Absolutely. Well, thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. And we'll be watching. Thanks so much for doing the hard work out there.
All right. Thank you.
And
Appreciate
you should have been on. You should have been on Snoop Dogg's little photo. I was with you. I was upset about that because you were my first. You were my first conservative, and I'm not even going to say my first black conservative. My first conservative person I was watching on YouTube was you, and then I got into Candace Owens and the twins and all these other people. Oh, and some funny guys, man. I love the funny guys. But you really bring out the real knowledge. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. All right. Let's get to the next call. All right, caller on the line. I'm going to speak it to 267.
Hello?
Hello, caller, can you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain about yourself.
Okay, I just want to start off. I'm very right leaning. I'm very conservative, and I just wanted to ask you about the situation with Nick Cannon being him being fired from his show because of that interview he did with that ex rapper. How do you feel about that situation? First off.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much what he put himself into. I think he had to understand that he would have that happen because he'd been fired before from a different place. He was on America's Got Talent back about 2 or 3 years ago, and he got fired for a similar reason. He was doing stand-up comedy and said something he shouldn't have said, and they got mad at it. They wanted him to apologize, and he refused. So it was the same thing going on. He knows that he'll say certain things that are offensive to some people, to a lot of people, and if he doesn't apologize, then he has to face the consequences. So that's what he did.
Okay. Okay. With that situation, you believe in free speech, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. You see in the media they talk a lot of trash about white Christians all day long, right?
Yes.
And you see that the music business, especially rap business, they degrade black people, and you do understand that most of those businesses are owned by Jews. So now you're saying that why do they not take down a lot of these liberal shows that says a lot of things about white Christians, but when he brings on someone who talks about facts, and it's an actual fact that 99% of the slave trade was owned by Ashkenazi Jews. So why is it that you feel like he should be fired, but you go on CNN all day and people like Don Lemon and your liberal media outlets can talk a lot of trash about white people, evoke a lot of violence against white people? I'm not sure if you heard about the situation where the young lady, I think you might have done something about it, where the young lady said all lives matter and she was murdered. And I mean, they pushing a narrative of race war, and it's between white and black. But if you look at both sides, even though I'm a conservative, I don't like Nick Cannon because I think he's a fool. He pushes a lot of dumb things, but he has the right to say whatever he wants, just like anybody else. You don't see a lot of these Jewish.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna cut. Hold on. I'm gonna cut in because I got to answer the question now.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, freedom of speech, is that a two-way street?
Of course.
Okay, so I mean, so if Nick Cannon says whatever he wants, then so can ViacomCBS. They can say whatever they want. He can say whatever he wants on this show, and then they can say, you know what, I don't like that, and I'm going to go ahead and fire you. That's their right to do that. They have their right. Nick has the right to say what he wants. They got the right to react. It can't just be a one-way street where it's like, okay, you say whatever you want, and I can't say whatever I want. It's got to be two-way. Freedom of speech only really means that you can't get locked up for what you say. Ain't nobody saying Nick Cannon should go to jail for what he says. Never that. But people are going to react. As long as what you are doing is legal, as long as your reaction is legal, then that can't be touched. You know, the whole thing with the lady getting killed over All Lives Matter, the reaction to what she said was illegal. They're going to get locked up for that if they're able to be captured. But nobody's going to go to jail on either side of the Nick Cannon or ViacomCBS thing because they both have the right to express themselves in a legal way, which is what they did.
Well, I mean, I think you're kind of being disingenuous because you don't see people getting fired about talking about white people.
I mean, but wait, hold on. Before we get to that, is what I said right or wrong?
Oh no, I'm not saying. I'm not.
Is it right or is it wrong?
That he got fired?
No. Is what I said right or wrong?
Which part? That Nick Cannon.
The whole thing, because the whole thing about freedom of speech being a two-way street. Nick Cannon can say what he wants, and so can ViacomCBS. Is that right or wrong?
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with
So
that.
so you're saying I'm right, right?
In a certain portion.
I mean either I'm right or I'm wrong. It's not really any kind of in between. Am I right?
It is.
If I'm right, so we've established the fact that I'm right. So now the next thing is about white people. The reason why you can say whatever you want about white folks because they don't really do anything about it. White folks have to be the ones that fight back and say we don't like this. We're not gonna put up with it. White folks put up with it. That's why you can go on TV, say whatever you want about white folks. Jews don't put up with it. LGBT don't put up with it. Black folks don't put up with it when it's a white person. When it's a black person, ain't no big deal. But if it's a white person, like let's say Ryan Seacrest was to go on TV and say the N-word 1,500 times, black folks wouldn't stand for it. If it's a black person that does it, it wouldn't be a big deal. See, there's certain things that are just allowed to go because people don't want to stand up and say anything about it. Jews defend themselves. White folks don't do that much. You see?
I've been seeing a lot of white people giving a lot of backlashes with this situation. But the reason why I even bring like that whole thing up, you do understand that a lot of this propaganda, you speak a lot against the left, and I agree with you with a lot of the things that you said. However, you have to be a fool to think that you're not being played, because on both sides, they're the ones who own both sides. They're the ones who push the narrative on both sides. They're the ones who own all the big news outlets on both sides. That's my whole point.
Okay, so if because we got time, so if Jews are the ones that own both, then who are the ones working there? Who are the ones saying the things? Who are the ones that are actually working at the news places and writing stuff and putting things out and appearing on TV? I'm seeing a lot of black folks, a lot of white folks, a lot of everybody else on TV talking about these things. So at the end of the day, it's up to us to be the ones that, change the narrative and control certain things. You can't just let those that, have the big platforms do whatever they want to do. We're the ones that are putting it out there. We can't blame somebody else.
Oh no, but you do see a lot of people doing a lot of push, and you see there's a lot of laws that's coming out that's very unfair. You say for the freedom of speech, but there's a lot of laws that doesn't make sense. That's towards being anti-Semitic, even though I feel they're not really Semitic, but they pushing laws that are I feel unconstitutional because they say. They recently, for example, Florida in the Florida school system, right? They pushed out a law where in the schools, you're not allowed to speak on the situation having to do with the Jews unless if it has to do with the Holocaust. So they're trying to narrow our speech, but there are people that are having pushback. But you won't hear about it only because, of course, they own the media. If you look at a lot of the outlets that are not owned by the big media, you would see there's a lot of people who are pushing, having a lot of pushback, and this is going to hurt America eventually, because what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of violence. People are actually waking up, and a lot of people are they know that the Jews are running everything, and it's going to flip back on them eventually. All I'm saying is you give out negativity, and negativity will come back to you. That's all I'm saying, and that's all I need to say.
Thank you for the call. She just kind of hung up. That's all I got to say, and boom, I got the last word. Now, shout out to the caller. She was cool. It's all good. No, but if I'm right on right, I just argue in facts. If I'm right on right, I don't really, nothing else really matters. I just like to be right. The problem is you got certain groups that will stand up and say, okay, no more of this, and other groups won't. It's really just that simple. It ain't nothing else to it. That's all that's really going on. Okay. Last call, real quick. Nippin', what's happening, boss?
Let me just put everything off. There.
Alrighty, man. What's going on?
Yeah, so the Redskins, they've changed their name. Well done. I know that was not me actually saying well done to them.
Right. Now, I mean,
sarcasm.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So I'm not sure what the name was going to be. Some said, I think I said earlier, the Washington White Flag. So they have surrendered to the mob. That might be a good name, but I'm not sure what they're going to do.
Sports has, as us British would say, sports has gone to the dogs.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, and over here, one of our cabinet ministers has announced that the gyms will be reopening in 9 days' time on the 25th of July.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah. So that's that. All lives matter. Remember that.
That's
Say
right.
it with me. All lives matter.
1,000%. All lives
That
do matter.
includes Black lives.
Right. Everybody's life. It don't really matter what color you are. Everybody's life is important. Everybody's life matters.
Because the left doesn't care about Black lives. They only care about Black votes.
That's right.
And I want to say that shame on you for whoever that person was who shot that mother after saying all lives matter. I mean, how dare you? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
And I actually read I was going through my Instagram feed and I actually saw someone, this is not made up, I kid you not. Someone said, not being racist is not enough anymore.
yeah, I saw that.
Are you having a laugh? Okay, I'm not racist, but I'm sorry, according to the left saying, yeah, you're still racist unless, no. That's going too far.
Right.
So yeah, the St. Louis couple's guns have been taken.
Yeah, the gun got taken. They might get brought up on charges maybe, but I'm not really sure. But the warrant was only for that one or the two guns that were seen in the video. They could have other guns and those won't be taken. But they do have help from the outside. Trump may have helped quietly. I'm not really sure. That's kind of like unconfirmed. But they did have some security help to make sure that they're safe in their home.
Well, I'm not surprised. Because St. Louis, despite Missouri being a deep red state and voting, I think Missouri went by more percentage points than Montana. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, despite Missouri being such a deep red state, St. Louis is still heavily Democratic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully everything with this situation works out for the best. It works out as best as it can.
That's great. Shout out to Brandon Tatum on his Thursday night show.
Oh yeah, that show was great. That show was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one too. If he's listening, I'd really like to be a guest on that. Like collab with both you and Brandon.
Well, we'll see. We got a lot of guests coming up, so we'll see what's going on.
Okay. So yeah, pass my word on to Brandon that I'd want to be a guest on his show.
I got you.
Okay. So yeah, and Nick Cannon getting fired for saying something racist.
Right.
So what of it?
You got to watch the video. It's kind of a long one, but I talked about that earlier in the stream. Basically, long and short of it, you can't say whatever you want and expect zero consequence. People, they might like what you say. They might think differently, and they may, respond differently than what you would anticipate. So it is what it is. Now he's fired, and that just kind of happens like that. But hey, I gotta wrap up the show right here because I'm out of time. I have no more time left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice catching up with you, ABL.
Oh, definitely, Nippin. I definitely appreciate you, man.
I shall speak to you on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday your time, Saturday my time. I got you, boss.
Speak to you then.
All right, then. Peace.
Peace.
All right, thanks to my man Nippin for the call, and that will be a wrap for my calls. I appreciate y'all. I said a super chat show on Jay. I ain't forgot super chats. I'm gonna read those right quick. And hey, I want to say right here, congrats to my brother Brandon Tatum from passing the 1 million subscriber mark. Shout out to my brother Brandon Tatum. Hey, he skyrocketed from, I think it was at like 450,000 like in June to like over 1 million right now today. So congrats to my brother Brandon Tatum for passing the 1 million subscriber mark. I'm trying to be like, hey, if you're listening, Brandon, I'm trying to be like you, man. I'm trying to get the 1 million subs. Can I hold like 200,000 just so I can get to 800 and more, so I can get to 1 million? How about that? That's all I'm trying to do, man. Let me hold 200. I'll get right back to you after I'm done with it, man. Let me get to 1 million. So congrats to Brandon Tatum on passing 1 million subscribers. And once you get to 1 million subscribers, you get the gold play button. I still have the silver play button somewhere. It's not like right here. As a matter of fact, there it is. I'm tripping. You get a silver play button right there. Okay. Once you get to 100,000, once you get to 1 million, you get the gold play button. So he'll have probably the silver and the gold. Shout out to Kurt Franklin, silver and gold. All right. But thank y'all for being here. Super chats on deck. And then wrap it on up, put a bow on the top. A shout out to James G, who says, what states do you think will be best to move to in 2021? That's a very good question. I'll read it one more time in case you didn't hear it. What states do you think will be the best to move to in 2021? Now, I'm kind of biased because I'm right here. Tennessee is great. You could be Chattanooga, Knoxville, Nashville, maybe even Memphis. Maybe not, but definitely Nashville. Like anywhere, Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee is good. Georgia is still good. Atlanta, as long as you're not in the city, you're fine. But Georgia, Tennessee, Texas still, even though you got a lot of liberals going there, Texas is still good to move to. Florida is still good to move to, actually. North Carolina, South Carolina, anywhere in the South, maybe even Ohio, depending upon where you are, like Columbus. Don't go too far out in the sticks because you will find Heroinville, so don't do that. Those are some of the best, like maybe even Indiana, like certain places that have, affordable living. And it also depends on what you want to do for a living. If you have something that's kind of mobile, like I can live anywhere, Kentucky, Nebraska. Yeah, Clarksville, Tennessee is good. Mississippi. I'm going to say the South pretty much. People say Montana. Yeah, it depends on what you like. Like, do you like, cold? You can go to Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, places like that, oil field money. Just try to avoid liberal places. You can live in a place like Illinois, just don't go to Chicago. And if you go to Chicago, don't go to South Chicago. You can go to Evanston or something like that and be fine for the most part. And also, it depends on how much money you're trying to spend. Cost of living is very important. Where I'm at in Tennessee, there's no state tax. No state tax. So you can, live pretty inexpensive. Like I was saying before on Brandon Tatum's stream, where I live, you can go up on the hill down the way. You can live in a house that will probably be in LA, like $4 million in LA, or in even LA County, San Bernardino, or Orange County. You can live in a house that will cost you like $5 million out there for like $600,000 out here on a hill with a big property, all that good stuff. You could live on a farm for that kind of money and everything. So, Arizona. Oh yeah, Arizona is a great state. Shout out to Arizona, Scottsdale. Yeah. Now that heat out there is something else. It's a beast. So it depends on what kind of climate you like. You like the desert heat. You like, it's hot down here in the South. So that's the thing. Florida, it's going to rain a lot. Especially if you're like in Miami, it's going to be humid. So it depends on what you like. You guys in the chat have some good answers as well. If California comes back away from the drugs and the crazy liberalism, then it'll be beautiful. Alaska, if you like off-grid living, yeah. If you want to be out on the sticks, Alaska, beautiful. Also, you got to be dealing with the cold in a light situation. Alrighty. Let me see. Southeast Missouri, yeah. That's a good one. All right. Okay, next super chat. Shout out to GX Cutlet who says, talk about de Blasio. He ruined my home state. Yeah, de Blasio, he's got to go. He sucks. The left and the right up there hate de Blasio for sure. Virginia, I would say Virginia, but, I like Virginia a lot, but it really depends on what you want to go there for. It's a cool state, but you can't really be in the cities. You got to be kind of out. Like if you want to go to like the Hampton Roads area, I would say kind of move like maybe even North Carolina, Elizabeth City, kind of far away from the city. Don't really be. If you're gonna go to like Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, go out a little bit, like Pungo, Hickory, kind of go away from the city because it's dangerous in some of these places. But it's okay. It's not a bad place to live, honestly, Virginia. But that governor, like right now, they're still kind of locked down, if I'm not mistaken. So you got it. The politics might get in the way, of Virginia. But aside from that, it's a beautiful place to be. You know, Virginia is nice, but the politics might be an issue. Okay, so shout out to and Maryland is really nice too, but it's expensive. Maryland is beautiful, but very expensive. Shout out to D Hawk for becoming an ABL supporter. Shout out to Michael Danubio who says, "God bless you, ABL, keep it up." Thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate you. Shout out to JDWJC11 who says, "Washington veterans will make the woke mob proud." There you go. Shout out to Yasad Powell who says, "I was raised Jewish. When I asked my dad, said something similar to Nick Cannon. Where does this idea come from? I have no idea." Shout out to Gory Girl 04 who says, "Oh, just the emoji donation. Thank you for that." Well, back to your side. I know where it comes from. I don't know why Nick Cannon would say it. I don't know where he gets it from, but where it comes from is like this whole pro-black, back to Africa type of, Nation of Islam type thought. It comes from that. I think it was also written in Mein Kampf. Thank you to Mod Q23 who says, "I can't wait for more companies to stand up to the woke Wendy's. That's what we need right now. People who just don't buckle under pressure." Exactly. Thank you to Original 1912 Savage for the donation who said, "Thoughts on Tucker Carlson's head writer? Nothing burger. Somebody saying something crazy on the internet. Not really a big deal in my humble opinion." Thank you to Abraham who says, "Thank you with the bowing emoji." Thank you to Jeff Hill who says, "I really enjoy your content. You tell the truth. If I can't get real news I'm seeing, then I get it from you. Thank you for having this platform." Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Thank you to Vasquez de Jesus who says, "Big fan of yours, Anthony. Thanks for bringing awareness to the real problems in America." Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Most certainly appreciate you. Thank you to Unpopular Opinion who says, "Who has BLM even helped? We already know who they've hurt. Might as well call them Bureau of Land Management." Exactly. That's the original BLM, LOL. There you go. Thank you for that. Thank you to Orlando who says, "The Washington candy hind parts is." Thank you to Original 1912 Savage who says, "What are your thoughts on Tucker's head writer being exposed?" Yeah, nothing burger. Thank you to Jay Clem for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Abraham who says, "Teachers Union voted to begin the elimination of the school police in Los Angeles, where you're going to have much more dangerous schools." And how does this make any sense? We went from being scared of of mass shootings to removing the security from the school. How does it make any sense? None. Thank you to Mondo A who says, "Fear got out the flu." Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you to Double O Tyrone who says, "The young lady who was shot by BLM, CNN is not covering it. Keep up the good work, Trump 2020. Thank you for that. Thank you to Big Al who says, "Goya lives matter." There you go. Thank you to Richard Anderson who says, "Where are you on the size of Jericho Green's head?" I don't know nothing about that. I know I got a big head. I can speak for my man Jericho. Shout out to Candace W who says, "Just checking out your stickers. Ignore this." Oh, that's all right. Thank you to Teeny Verse who says, "Keep it up." Most certainly appreciate you. Thank you to Connie Tejarina who says, "God bless you." God bless you. Thank you to Richard Anderson who says, "Where do we get the life-size ABL love doll?" Hey, man, I don't know nothing about that, sir. I can't help you with that one. Thank you to Beth Marie Evans who says, "Defund police means they want secret police." There you go. Exactly. They already didn't got that out there. The little hotline, the snitch line for the virus. They're going to roll that into the secret police. This is Nazi Germany all over again. It's really easy to tell what's happening here. Thank you to Abraham who says, "Reparations have been made already. It's called affirmative action." There you go. Thank you to G Family who says, "Why are the Redskins racist? I can't tell." Thank you to Double O Tyrone who says, "Bug Lives Matter." And also Malcolm X said, "If you vote Democrat, you're a traitor." Thank you to Mike Jones who says, "You're a hometown hero," in a 757. 1 million subs soon. I appreciate you for that, man. Thank you. Thank you to Abraham. Abraham, who says abortion is a political term. Medical professionals refer to it as a termination. Exactly, because you're terminating a life. You're terminating actual human being's life. Thank you to Dallas Fan 1997, who says, thank you from a Republican, half Hispanic, and white college male. I appreciate you giving us the truth. Tired of seeing woke stuff on Instagram and university. Hey, I'm with you, man. Thank you for that. Thank you to Brochacho 357 for your donation. Thank you to TMS Space, who says America is great, but we do have a lot of murders. Not the worst in the world, but still too many. Without that, we would really have the history books. Thank you to Hank McCoy, who says reopen the economy all day long and keep it open. Don't go back to closing. Keep it open. Thank you to America's favorite Brazilian, who says I use Brazilian American to agitate the left. Thank you to Jam _ Hen, who says Nick Cannon's melanin comments debunked right here only on ABL. There you go. Thank you to my man Coach 99, who says, ABL, have you visited Joe Biden's campaign website? It's horrible. It's a bunch of gray rectangles with each race segregated into a box. Help him out, ABL. Check out the Unwoke job site. It's amazing. I heard about the Unwoke jobs. Shout out to Unwoke jobs. I think Unwoke jobs is a resource that will provide you with job listings that do not require you to be a woke soldier, a woke lemming. That's a great thing. Shout out to Dusty D, who says, keep America great. Vote red in November. Ladies and gentlemen, the China virus is nothing more than the flu. Only a man, female, nothing in between. There you go. Thank you to Brian Nolan, who says, if you love ABL, show it with the tip. Come on, you bums. Tip him now. Thanks. I didn't say bums. That was my man, Brian. Thank you to Tree, who says, tree power, tree supremacy. Thank you to Fishman 138, who says, God bless ABL and his message. Thank you for that, and God bless you. Thank you to Lady Wisdom for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Mac JR, who says, it's because our generation is pretty spoiled, honestly. They are looking for a purpose or something to, quote unquote, fight for. Exactly. What did it say? Good times create weak men and bad times create strong men. Something along those lines. Pretty much what's going on. Thank you to Intech9, who says, thanks, ABL. Thank you to the Rambling Mahoney, who says, keep doing you, bro. We need more people like you. Thank you to Maxwell Griffin, who says, breaking now, Asheville, North Carolina, just approved reparations for the city. Voted 7-0. What are your thoughts? I mean, Asheville, what's the big industry in Asheville? How much money do they have? What are they really going to do beyond what they're already doing? They might have like a little rundown office in the rec center for people to come in and air their grievance, and that's pretty much it. It's just a silly kind of virtue signaling move. Thank you to Barnaby Bunny, who says, is a Biden-Trump debate going to happen? Seems like no. I don't think so. Hopefully it does. Thank you to Twiner Hampton for the donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Spicy Stir Fry, who says, keep it up with the emoji. Appreciate you for that. Thank you to Julian Bueno, who says, Central California, Latinos for Trump 2020 all day long. Thank you to my man Nippon, who says, soon the silent majority will be the majority, period. Exactly. Thank you to Nathan Cooper, who says, thanks, man, talking up. I like his style. Hey, I appreciate you for that. Thank you to Renard Thomas for the thumbs up emoji. Thank you to Abraham, who says, BLM is a business. Racism is a marketing campaign. Marxism is a product. Thank you to Charles Turner Jr., who says, the Federalist and Summit News had articles that said the Smithsonian is talking about, quote unquote, whiteness, more Marxist BS that will backfire. The defund police movement has caused pushback against the left. Exactly. Yeah, that's crazy. The whiteness, I saw that too. I might do a video about that and just break down some of the things talk about in whiteness. Matter of fact, I will do that. Thank you for that, Charles. I'm going to do a video about that. Thank you to Sharon61 Sunshine, who says, thanks for being a gentleman. I enjoy your streams. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to, hold on, let me go back to where I was. Lost my, thank you to Mondo A for becoming an ABO supporter. Thank you to Jared Bailey, who says, how's it going, man? Everything's going great. Thank you for all the hard work you're doing. Keep it up and don't change for anyone. Never. I can only be me, nobody else, because everybody else is taken. Thank you to Broke Thibodeau, who says, I called 200 times. I have a very good point that needs to be heard. I'm sorry if you couldn't get through. It's not my fault blaming the white man. Thank you to Charles Turner Jr., who says, ABO, you will get to 1 million soon. By the way, you're not 36. It's September 22nd. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'm 35 right now. I'll be 36 in September. That's all right. Good memory. Thank you to, and by the way, I'm a Virgo, actually. That's actually the last day of Virgo. I'm like on the cusp, if you believe in the whole Zodiac thing. Thank you to Doug Butabu, who says, new to your channel. Love it, by the way. Legit question I'm confused about. Why is people of color okay, but color people isn't? They are the same, both suck. I mean, I've been asking the same question. Hey, when you figure out, let me know. I don't know. If I figure out first, I'll tell you. Because it's the same thing. The term people of color is the same as color people. It's the same. It's backwards with an of in the middle. So it's kind of weird. The term people of color is a dressed up people of colored people. That's all. Thank you to Mike Fahey for becoming a member of the ABL squad. Thank you to Brooke Thibodeau, who says, y'all are missing so many bigger points happening in the world right now. There is a bigger picture than talking about the Redskins. Thank you to Stacey Felice, who says, I'll stay in New York if Don Jr. become governor in 2021. Hey, that'd be good. You know, I think he wants to become the president in 2024, though. But if he becomes the governor, that'd be good, too. Thank you to Brooke, who says, y'all are only half woke. Wake up more. I can't wake up no more. My eyes, this is the far as they get open. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. You know, blame genetics. Thank you to American Spartan, who says, love your show. Keep it up. Thank you to Monster Blood, who says, Trump signs a bill approving sanctions on China. There we go. Did he do that for real? Hey, that's going to be a tough one. Thank you to Mike Jones, who says, you're a hometown hero. I read that one. Thank you for that. Thank you to Monster Blood, who says, people boycotting Goya, never heard of him till now. Exactly. Thank you to Zedochi's King Sword, who says, you are amazing with the emoji. Thank you to Mac JR, who says, Nick Cannon said he only apologizes to Jewish people on a statement on his Twitter. Shocker. And that came after he got fired. Before he got fired, they asked him to apologize and acknowledge the anti-Semitism. He didn't do that. So he got fired. Then he said, I apologize if anybody took it the wrong way. So no, it's too late now. It's already over with. You're already fired. So, you know, congratulations. You try to like call it bluff and, you know, it didn't work out. So it is what it is. Thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience on the internet. It's the best audience on the entire globe, the planet. I appreciate y'all for being here. I'll be live again tomorrow on Brandon Tatum's channel, my brother. 1 million subscribers. Congrats to him. Hats off to him. I'll be on there talking about a few different issues on that particular platform. That'll be from 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. And then I'll be back here live on my channel on Saturday. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. And I'll also be doing things throughout the week. I'm tired. I'm about to go to bed right now. But I'll be doing pre-record things all throughout the week. I'll probably put a video tomorrow about this whole, Smithsonian trying to debunk and criticize white. I'll probably do a video about that. And then reparations out there in Asheville, North Carolina. I'll probably do those videos, and then that'll be a wrap. Thank you to Zelma406, who says, we all bleed the same. I'm so tired of there being sides. We are the same, 1,000%. And shout out to the mods for doing a great job. We got Killer Sushi. We got my man Shreebs. We got True Helper. We got Ansel. We got, who else? Bill from the Hills, of course. Ken Bone. Michelle A. Elijah Jean. You guys do a great job all the time. Couldn't do it without you. And that's all I got for tonight's episode of ABL Live. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.